Chapter 494. Leave desolate city within 3 days. Otherwise, no one will be able to save you. After Chu Chaoyun said this, he did not stay any longer. His figure flashed, and a sword of light appeared under his feet. Then, he quickly disappeared into the night. As Xiaochen watched Chu Chaoyun leave, a shadow appeared in his heart. He had already been very careful. Unexpectedly, Chu Chaoyun still managed to find him. If Chu Chaoyun could find him, then those people who wanted to cause trouble for him would definitely be able to find him as well. It looked like he could not stay in Desolate City for long. The spiritual energy in Desolate City was much denser than outside. Xiao Chen had originally intended to stay for a few more days. Now, it looked like he could only leave early. Xiao Chen pushed off the wall of the courtyard and left. This courtyard could only be abandoned. Not long after Xiao Chen left, a few cultivators dressed in black nimbly jumped into the courtyard. When they saw the rubble, it was clear that the house had been burned down. The leader of the group revealed heavy suspicion in his eyes. He muttered, "This brat is really cautious." The moment we arrived, he burned down his house and spent a lot of money to buy the information from the wind-chasing sect. Yet, he wasted it. The eyes of the person at the side hid a heavy murderous intent. He said coldly, "It just so happens that he is about to leave Desolate City. It will be easier for us to make a move after he leaves." The leader of the black-clothed men smiled and said, "City Lord Gao is right. It would be too conspicuous to make a move in the city. It is better to leave the city. Let's return to our Holy Fire Manor branch first to discuss the details." Gao Yangyu said indifferently, "There is no need. Since I agreed to cooperate with you, I will not act alone. Just send someone to inform me when the time comes." Gao Yangyu's words were filled with pride. He did not care about the Holy Fire Manor at all. After he spoke, he left. Ling Yun looked at the black-clothed men and asked, "Uncle Qin, is this person reliable? What if he makes a move on us?" Old Qin smiled coldly and said, "Don't worry. He lost all his fortune to Xiao Chen and hates him to the bone. With Xiao Chen's current strength, he will not be able to stop him alone. He will have to cooperate with us." Ling Yun said somewhat gloomily, "However, this fellow's attitude is really unpleasant. He asked for 50% of the harvest the moment he opened his mouth. If not for father not agreeing to us making a move, how could he have the chance to speak like that?" Old Qin smiled and said, "Don't bother about him. After all, he was once an influential figure in the southern islands. Give him some face." Xiao Chen was not very interested in the spirit stones on Xiao Chen. He only wanted to snatch back that peak demon core and open his sea of consciousness to advance to Martial Monarch. When Xiao Chen advanced to Martial Monarch, he would be able to obtain as many medial-grade spirit stones as he wished. He was very clear on what was more important. As for the operation failing, that was impossible. 2 half-step martial monarchs and 10-odd superior-grade martial kings were more than enough to ensure that nothing would go wrong. The next morning, Xiao Chen walked out of an inn in Barren City. He wanted to eat something and then leave Barren City. As for where he was going, he had already made up his mind long ago. As of now, his state of massacre was still too weak. He wanted to go to the deep-sea battlefield and refine his state of massacre there. After that, he would return to the Great Qin nation to settle some matters with the Shao clan. After that, he would go to the imperial capital and participate in the 5-nation youth competition that happened once every 4 years. While 1.5 years might seem like a lot, with this arrangement, Xiao Chen felt that it was not enough. "Boss, bring me another 5 kilograms of the best wine in the inn. I do not have enough thunder ox beef. Give me another half." Just as Xiao Chen descended the stairs, he heard a heroic cry. The thunder ox was a rank 6 spirit beast. Its meat was not only more delicious than ordinary beef, but it was also more chewy. After swallowing it, the fragrance would linger in the mouth. That feeling was indescribably comfortable. The most important thing was that the rank 6 spirit beast meat still contained some spiritual energy. Long-term consumption of it would be very beneficial to the physical body. There were many benefits, but the price was ridiculously high. Anyone could afford to eat a few kilograms a day. However, eating half a head in one go was too extravagant. Furthermore, based on the tone of the thunder ox, it sounded like it had already eaten half a head. Xiao Chen could not help but look over curiously. Xiao Chen saw a stout man sitting by the window on the third floor. Beside a table that was larger than a regular table sat a stout man. He was drinking wine and eating meat in large mouthfuls. This person looked very satisfied and comfortable. Xiao Chen found this person familiar. He turned to the side and looked. Indeed, it was Bai Lishi. "Waiter, why are you so slow? This old man is about to die from your dawdling. If you still don't come, this old man will go to another place." Bai Lishi was halfway through his sentence when he saw Xiao Chen's appearance. He was startled and startled. He did not even manage to chew the piece of meat properly before he swallowed it. The piece of meat was stuck in his throat, unable to move forward or backward. His expression was one of extreme pain. His earlier satisfied expression disappeared without a trace. Xiao Chen raised his eyebrows slightly. Why did this fellow have such a big reaction when he saw me? There is no reason for this at all. Bai Lishi gulped down a few mouthfuls of wine and smacked the meat a few times. Only then did the piece of meat sink down. Xiao Chen immediately relaxed. "Brother Xiao, you are here. Come, sit. Eat as much as you want. It's my treat." Xiao Chen swept his gaze across the table. He was slightly stunned. What a fellow! Aside from the rank 6 thunder ox, there were also other rare beasts on the table. They were at least rank 5 spirit beasts. Some flew in the sky and some crawled on the ground, filling the table. Xiao Chen tore off a piece of deep purple thunder ox. The fragrant thunder ox was very tasty. He placed it in his mouth and chewed on it. Bai Lishi smiled in a fawning manner and said, "How is it? Little brother Xiao Chen, this beef is pretty good, right? Although this shop is small, in the entire southern district of Desolate City, this is the only place that dares to call itself the best." "Very good, it is very tasty." Xiao Chen's expression did not change. He sized up Bai Lishi's attire. He wore a pair of black open-toed gloves. On the surface, they looked like ordinary leather gloves. However, when Xiao Chen scanned them with his spiritual sense, he discovered several complicated talisman scripts. Based on the complexity of the talisman scripts, they were at least superior-grade medial-grade secret treasures. When Xiao Chen looked up, he saw a black talisman script necklace with a rhombus-shaped stone hanging at the end. With one look, he could tell that it was not an ordinary item. Bai Lishi wore a blue inner vest under his jacket. A strong spiritual qi came from it. The inner vest was at least a medial-grade secret treasure. There were 2 black tiger shoulder pads on his shoulders. When Xiao Chen looked down, he saw that the shoes he wore were not ordinary either. There seemed to be 2 leg guards on his calves. What a fellow! He had a set of medial-grade secret treasures on him. With such a large sum of resources, just the value of these items would cost him tens of millions of medial-grade spirit stones. However, high-ranked medial-grade secret treasures could not be bought with spirit stones. One would have to spend at least a few million medial-grade spirit stones to make some connections and use some connections to obtain them. Xiao Chen entered deep thought. He smiled faintly and said, "Old Bai, does your butt still hurt? I really did not do it on purpose last time." Bai Lishi smiled magnanimously and said, "It's fine. It is just a small matter. I have long since stopped minding it. My butt is thick, it is fine to kick it a few more times." Since when did he become so magnanimous? There is definitely something strange about this fellow. Xiao Chen put down his wine cup and said in a low voice, "Tell me the truth. When the all-in-all victory token was activated, the person who spent a large sum on me and forced Gao Yangyu into bankruptcy was you?" Bai Lishi looked around cautiously. It seemed like he had expected Xiao Chen to ask this. He said, "It is not convenient to speak here. Come with me to the private room on the top floor. Dong! Dong! Bai Lishi casually tossed out a medial-grade spirit stone and quickly led Xiao Chen to the top floor. The two found a quiet private room and closed the doors and windows. After they verified that no one was eavesdropping, Bai Lishi told Xiao Chen everything that happened that day in full detail. After Xiao Chen heard it, he felt somewhat shocked. Even though he already had some guesses, he was still astonished. You are too courageous. I really don't know where you got your courage from. Bai Lishi chuckled and said, from Qianren Island to the demon battlefield, everything that happened clearly shows that as long as I follow you, I will definitely benefit. Furthermore, I believe in your strength. At worst, if I lose, I will no longer mingle in the ancient desolate land. After that, Bai Lishi said somewhat embarrassedly, I received news that Gao Yangyu went in and out of the wind-chasing sect several times. It seems like he is trying to find you. It seems like that fellow is determined to kill you and will no longer mingle in the ancient desolate land. Xiao Chen said calmly, it has nothing to do with you. There is no need for you to blame yourself. Even if he did not seek trouble for me, I would seek trouble for him. Tell me, what kind of existence is the wind-chasing sect? Now, Xiao Chen finally understood why Bai Lishi had been so shocked when he saw Xiao Chen. Bai Lishi nodded and said, I knew that you would not mind. The wind-chasing sect is a neutral organization that seeks information. As long as you can afford it, you can obtain any information from them in the ancient desolate land. However, don't worry. Even if you did not seek me out, old Bai intended to seek you out. In this desolate city, as long as you are willing to spend money, you can avoid the eyes and ears of the wind-chasing sect. It is just that the price is higher. I have already made arrangements. We will be able to leave the city by nightfall. Xiao Chen thought for a while and knew that Bai Lishi was telling the truth. This inn was the closest inn to his courtyard. It looked like it was not a coincidence that Xiao Chen met Bai Lishi here. Xiao Chen shook his head and said, don't move for now. Let me ask you, with your current strength and this set of secret treasures, how strong are you? Bai Lishi chuckled. Clearly, he was very satisfied with the treasures on him. He muttered, I believe you know that there are strong and weak half-step martial monarchs. Normally, we divide half-step martial monarchs into 3 grades, small perfection, great perfection, and peak consummation half-step martial monarch. Right now, when I use my full power, I am already as strong as a peak small perfection half-step martial monarch. I should be able to deal with 5 or 6 small perfection half-step martial monarchs like Gong Haoyu in one go. Xiao Chen felt astonished. He could not tell that this fellow had relied on a stroke of luck to become a nouveau riche. Now, he was ahead of him due to a freak combination of factors. When Xiao Chen first arrived at the ancient desolate tower, his and Bai Lishi's strengths were about the same. Neither of them could do anything to the other. Xiao Chen had fought bitterly along the way. Not to mention a narrow escape, he had put in thousands of times more effort than ordinary people to get to where he was now. Chapter 495. However, when compared to Bai Lishi, the difference was immediately obvious. Bai Lishi had easily won a large sum of spirit stones in a gamble. By relying on a full set of 10-odd medial-grade secret treasures, Bai Lishi's combat prowess surpassed Xiao Chen's. When Bai Lishi saw Xiao Chen's depressed expression, his smile became even more cocky. He pretended to comfort Xiao Chen, brother, don't overthink. This old brother is only ahead of you temporarily. However, there is still a long way to go. In terms of future potential, I am still not as good as you. Xiao Chen smiled bitterly and said, never mind, let's not talk about this anymore. You should not be targeted yet. Help me ask around and see who exactly is investigating me. Bai Lishi was startled. He said, what are you thinking of doing? I already made arrangements. I guarantee that you will be able to leave Desolate City safely tonight. Xiao Chen muttered, just do as I say. There are some grudges that need to be resolved in advance. Otherwise, you will end up creating trouble for yourself in the future. If I cannot find you, your friends and family might fall into their hands. I do not want to leave behind unforgettable regrets. Bai Lishi thought for a while and still disagreed with Xiao Chen's thoughts. He said, Gao Yangyu is not easy to deal with. He became famous in the southern islands long ago. He has already become a great perfection half-step martial monarch. Xiao Chen nodded and said, because of this, we need to make a decision early. Once he becomes a martial monarch, he will be even harder to deal with. Seeing Xiao Chen's insistence, Bai Lishi did not have much to say. Although Bai Lishi had a rough character, he felt that what Xiao Chen said made sense. However, he was worried that Xiao Chen would be rash. After Bai Lishi left, Xiao Chen found a room in the inn to stay in and continue to stabilize his cultivation. He was like a divine weapon. The outline of the weapon had already been formed. He still needed to polish it, making it sharp and filled with spirituality. Bai Lishi left for 2 days. The room in the inn was very spacious. After 2 days, Bai Lishi pushed open the door and sat down at the tea table in the hall. Xiao Chen slowly opened his eyes and pushed open the door. When he saw the somewhat fatigued Bai Lishi, he asked, "Did you get what you wanted?" Bai Lishi took out a stack of information from his bosom. He smiled and said, "Brat, you have been extraordinarily popular recently. There are so many people looking for you. I collected at least 100 sets from the 4 branches of the wind-chasing sect." Xiao Chen nodded in thanks and said, "Lishi, thank you for the trouble. I will give you the money." Bai Lishi chuckled and said, "Let's not talk about money. Right now, I lack everything but money. I'll be leaving first. If you need anything, just call me. Don't act rashly by yourself. Brother, I will be there at any time." This Lishi to Xiao Lishi to. Lishi to, he, Chen Chen Chen. Lishi, he Lido Chen. Chen. Bai, he to with. There was a small pile of information on the table. There was a detailed introduction of the backer, strength, and personal information of every person looking for Xiao Chen. The detailed information taught Xiao Chen a lesson. He now understood why he was always the first to be found. The extremely detailed information really taught Xiao Chen a lesson. He now somewhat understood why he was always the first to be found by others. 4 hours later, Xiao Chen finished reading all the documents on the table. Then, he spent another hour categorizing them. The first type did not pose much of a threat. They were the various sects that had not given up yet. They still wanted to extend an olive branch to Xiao Chen. The second type was more interesting. Many youths wanted to challenge Xiao Chen. They wanted to use this opportunity to become famous. There was no need to bother with these 2 types. They did not have any malicious intent towards Xiao Chen. However, the third type made Xiao Chen wary. The Holy Fire Manners Qin Yu had spent a lot of money 3 times to track down Xiao Chen's whereabouts. The Holy Fire Manners Qin Yu had spent a lot of money 3 times to track down Xiao Chen's whereabouts. The final record was for the wind-chasing sect to keep an eye on Xiao Chen and inform him when Xiao Chen left the city. Xiao Chen thought for a while and remembered who this Qin Yu was. It was the Holy Fire Manners inner sect elder whose peak blood demon's demon core Xiao Chen snatched away from him in the demon battlefield. It looks like this fellow is waiting for me to leave the city to ambush me. He is also a great perfection half-step martial monarch. He will not be easy to deal with. Xiao Chen continued reading and finally found Gao Yangyu's record. He had gone together with Qin Yu. Xiao Chen frowned slightly. Unexpectedly, 2 great perfection half-step martial monarchs worked together. This would not be easy to deal with. Xiao Chen looked down and saw the wind-chasing sect's analysis. His eyes could not help but light up, and a smile appeared on his face. Unexpectedly, Gao Yangyu did not stay with the Holy Fire Manor. Xiao Chen had not expected such a good opportunity. However, there was no record of Chu Chaoyun in all the information. This made Xiao Chen suspicious. If this person did not go through the wind-chasing sect, how did he find him? Unable to figure it out, Xiao Chen could only put it aside for now. He destroyed all the information and called Bai Lishi to his room to explain his plan. You want to take the initiative to attack and kill off Gao Yangyu. After that, you will destroy the Holy Fire Manor's branch in Desolate City. When Gao Yangyu heard Xiao Chen's plan, he could not help but be startled. Xiao Chen said calmly, "That's right. We cannot give him a chance to work together with Qinyu. Otherwise, we will not stand a chance." Bai Lishi remained silent for a while. Then, he laughed loudly and said, "Brat, only you have such boldness. I, old Bai, will do it with you. That group of people is still waiting for you to leave the city. They probably never dreamed that you would take the initiative to attack. Just tell me what you want me to do." Xiao Chen looked at Bai Lishi calmly and asked, "Are you not afraid?" Bai Lishi chuckled and said, "I am a bachelor. What is there to be afraid of? Now that the age of geniuses has sprouted, when the great age arrives, who will be the main character? I, old Bai, have set my mind on you. If I make the right bet and you become the main character of this age, the benefits I will gain will be greater than what I have to pay." The age of geniuses had arrived, the great age was coming. A martial emperor would definitely be born. As long as Bai Lishi made the right bet, he would gain the friendship of the future Emperor Wu. This benefit would be thousands or even tens of thousands of times better than any natural treasure or spirit pill. Xiao Chen smiled faintly and said, "I do not care who the main character is. If you help me, I will definitely remember your kindness." After the two finished their discussion, Bai Lishi made his move again. He wanted to find Gao Yangyu's residence at all costs. As for Xiao Chen, he started to make his final preparations. Xiao Chen took out the remaining half of the Wutong spiritual wood from the universe ring and closed his eyes. Then, he started to recall all sorts of things worth carving. After a while, the image of a rank 10 frost flood dragon was deeply imprinted in his mind. Opening his eyes, Xiao Chen already had an idea in his heart. If we are going to play, let's play it big. 3 days later, Xiao Chen found out where Gao Yangyu was staying. Everything was ready. When the sky turned dark, Xiao Chen and Bai Lishi immediately set off. Barren City was a city of water. There were countless rivers and lakes everywhere in the city. In a small lake in the northern district, there was a huge lake. In a small lake in the northern district, there was a pavilion in the center of the lake. Below the pavilion was a winding wooden path that extended to the shore. In a hidden spot by the lake, Xiao Chen was somewhat astonished. He said, "Who said that this fellow went bankrupt? Even cultivators would not be able to live in such a large house by himself." Bai Lishi smiled embarrassedly and said, "A starving camel is still bigger than a horse. This fellow has been operating in Wrestling City for half his life. He definitely has a few backup plans." Xiao Chen said indifferently, "Let's go, then." Bai Lishi picked up the huge axe on his back and a ruthless expression flashed on his face. He said, "I'll make the first move later." The two withdrew their auras and walked silently on the winding plank path, heading for the pavilion in the center of the lake. Break for this old man. When Bai Lishi was 100 meters away from the pavilion, he suddenly erupted. His huge axe quickly enlarged. He shouted and hacked down at the pavilion. Bang! 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 A burst of light flickered above the pavilion and collided with the huge axe blade, creating a crackling sound. Pillars of water shot up from the surface of the lake. Unexpectedly, there was a simple defensive barrier in the wooden pavilion. However, Bai Lishi was not surprised. The talisman scripts on his black leather gloves slowly lit up. Break! Bai Lishi shouted again and chopped down with the huge axe, which had already grown 100 meters long. Chi! Chi! The barrier around the pavilion shattered with a ka-si-eth sound. The axe chopped down unobstructed, chopping the huge pavilion in half. The axe landed on the lowest floor of the pavilion, giving off a melodious clang. Bai Lishi wanted to pull his axe back, but he felt something clamp down on it. He could not pull it out no matter what. Boom! The two halves of the pavilion fell towards the lake. Gao Yangyu stood on the water and a strong aura spread out. He used one hand to clamp down on Bai Lishi's axe. Dang! Gao Yangyu snorted coldly and struck the axe with his palm. The axe immediately shrank back to its original size. On the winding path, Bai Lishi could not help but take a few steps back. When Gao Yangyu saw Xiao Chen beside Bai Lishi, his gaze immediately turned cold. His face turned frosty as he said in a cold voice, "I did not look for you, but you actually came to look for me. You are really bold." Bang! Gao Yangyu stomped heavily on the water, and a semicircular screen of water appeared behind him. His figure flickered. Boundless ripples spread out from his palm. It was like a gushing waterfall appeared in the night sky. Gao Yangyu used the might of the waterfall to smash at Xiao Chen. Boom! 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 The sound of the waterfall reverberated in the surroundings. It was like a real waterfall. Who? The other party's momentum was surging. Xiao Chen chose to dodge for now. He pushed off the ground and his figure immediately drifted away. Paw! 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 The gushing waterfall in the sky gathered into Bai Shuihe's palm before exploding. The winding path under Bai Shuihe's feet immediately shattered, and a huge pillar of water shot up from the lake. Bang! Bai Lishi broke through the pillar of water and hacked at Gao Yangyu with his axe. There was nothing fancy about this move, it was just a horrifying force. When Gao Yangyu swung his axe, the air was like thin paper. It seemed to have been chopped in half, and an indistinct crack appeared. Splash! Gao Yangyu's right palm moved back and forth in front of him. A wave of water swam around his palm. The water attributed spiritual energy on the lake quickly gathered there. When the axe arrived before Gao Yangyu, he smashed it with his palm. The surging steam exploded, and the huge force knocked Bai Lishi back by 100 meters. Who? When the wave fell, a figure flashed. It was Xiao Chen attacking again. He clenched his right fist tightly, and the blue dragon tattoo on his arm swam about. Chapter 496. A resonant dragon roar resounded on the surface of the lake. A dragon head appeared on his fist, roaring ferociously. You overestimate yourself. How dare you attack me? Gao Yangyu did not panic. He circulated his essence and sent out a palm strike. The dragon head vanished, and Xiao Chen somersaulted 3 times in the air, dissipating the force. Then, his left hand turned into an azure dragon claw. Another resonant dragon roar resounded. Gao Yangyu dodged to the side and arrived at Xiao Chen's left side. Then, he flew forward and sent out a palm strike. Roar! The dragon roar resounded endlessly. Xiao Chen clenched his right fist and merged his vital qi and essence, clashing head-on with Gao Yangyu. Bang! The instant the fist and palm met on the calm surface of the lake, waves rose 100 meters high and filled the sky with raindrops. Gao Yangyu, who had remained motionless all this while, finally took 3 steps back from this palm strike. However, Xiao Chen was in an even more miserable state than Gao Yangyu. He took 10 steps back before he could stand stably on the water. Ha! Before Gao Yangyu could stand stably, Bai Lishi quickly stepped on the water. With every step he took, a pillar of water shot up into the sky. Gao Yangyu's face sank slightly as he forcefully suppressed the fluctuations of his qi and blood. Then, he sent out 2 palm strikes. Palm winds howled and the sound of a waterfall resounded endlessly. The 2 huge impacts instantly neutralized Bai Lishi's ferocious attack. Bai Lishi took 2 steps back on the water and chuckled, "Old man, why do you not have any strength left? Receive another attack from me." Gao Yangyu raged in his heart. These 2 people were not a match for him. However, when they worked together, Gao Yangyu did not have a chance to catch his breath. Without giving him a chance to catch his breath, he felt a wave of powerlessness. He had to get rid of one of them first. Gao Yangyu looked around and made up his mind. He stomped heavily on the water, and a crack appeared on the surface of the lake. The water parted just like that. Bai Lishi missed a step and fell into the crack. He felt extremely depressed. Gao Yangyu ignored Bai Lishi and snorted coldly. Then, he charged at Xiao Chen at lightning speed. I've been waiting for you. The dragon head on my right hand and the dragon claw on my left hand spread open. A blue dragon's shadow flickered behind me. And Xiao Chen shouted and a complete dragon image appeared behind him. Then, he punched at Gao Yangyu, who was flying over. Roar! The roar of the heaven dragon resounded across the surface of the lake. The azure dragon's shadow left its body and a supreme dragon's might spread across the lake. On the surface of the lake, the water rippled, stirring up layers upon layers of waves. Gao Yangyu's expression immediately changed. He waved his palms and the lake water beneath his feet formed a water shield in front of him. The dragon head smashed into the water shield and with a ka-sieth sound, the water shield split apart. Then, the dragon tail swung and sent Gao Yangyu flying. Motherfucker, how dare you let your grandfather drink water? Bai Lishi, who had sunk to the bottom of the lake, broke out of the water and headed for the descending Gao Yangyu. The black leather gloves on his hands glowed with a blue light, increasing the explosive power of his axe to its peak. Boom! Caught off guard, Gao Yangyu, who had just eaten a mouthful of water, was struck into the water by the axe. He tumbled for a long distance before he stopped. Did you really think that I would come and find you just because I had some confidence? Xiao Chen said expressionlessly to Gao Yangyu as he walked on the surface of the lake. Back in the wrestling ring, this fellow had repeatedly caused trouble for Xiao Chen. He probably did not expect such a day to come. Gao Yangyu stood up in a somewhat sorry state. When he saw the two approaching, he roared ferociously and charged over again. Bang! 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 The three of them clashed once again. Without a doubt, Gao Yangyu's strength was stronger than either of the two of them. However, Xiao Chen and Bai Lishi were exceptionally patient. They did not make any mistakes and worked together to wear him down. After one person finished fighting, the other would immediately take over, not giving Gao Yangyu any chance to catch his breath. Time slowly went by. The injuries that Gao Yangyu suppressed became increasingly severe, the pressure on him increased. If he could not suppress his internal injuries and erupted, he would be in grave danger. On the other hand, Xiao Chen and Bai Lishi had a better chance to recover. There were no hidden injuries in their bodies. The more they fought, the more valiant they became, refusing to let go of Gao Yangyu. No, if this drags on, we will really die here. Unexpectedly, in just a short 1 or 2 months, this brat managed to grow to such a level. Gao Yangyu did his best to execute a big move, causing the water to surge continuously, forcing back Xiao Chen and Bai Lishi. Gao Yangyu wiped away the blood at the corner of his lips. He smiled coldly and said, "If the two of you work together, I am indeed not a match for you. However, if I want to leave, you will not be able to stop me. Just wait for my rage." As long as there was life, there was hope. Gao Yangyu was not someone who did not know how to adapt. If he left first and worked together with Qinyu, he would not have to fear these two. Indeed, at their cultivation realm, it was easy to defeat the other party. However, it would be difficult to kill the other party. Unless one had an overwhelming advantage in strength, it would be hard to keep the other party here. As Xiao Chen watched Gao Yangyu leave, his expression did not change much. He casually tossed a wooden sculpture to the bottom of the lake and quickly formed hand seals. Life bestowal spell. Bang! Xiao Chen shouted, and a huge whirlpool appeared in the center of the lake. All the water in the lake quickly surged toward the whirlpool. A dragon roar came from the whirlpool, and a flood dragon burst out of the water. All the water in the lake soared up. Gao Yangyu felt that something was wrong, so he turned his head back to look. He saw a 200-meter-long frost flood dragon less than a meter behind him. The huge dragon head felt like it was right in front of him. Paw! Before Gao Yangyu could react, the frost flood dragon spat out a beam of cold qi at him. The cold qi quickly froze at a visible speed. When it struck Gao Yangyu's chest, the hidden injuries that he had been suppressing for a long time erupted. Pu ci. Gao Yangyu vomited a large mouthful of blood and fell heavily into the water like a broken kite. The frost flood dragon sent out an attack, and Xiao Chen quickly cancelled his spell. A wooden sculpture descended, and he opened his hand to pull it over. Cracks appeared on the wooden sculpture, it looked like it would shatter at any moment. Xiao Chen frowned and said, "Using Wutong's spiritual wood to materialize a rank 10 flood dragon is too much. It probably won't work even if I use it one more time." "Xiao Chen, how should we deal with this fellow?" Bai Lishi asked as he carried the heavily injured Gao Yangyu like he was a toy and walked over to Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen put away the wooden sculpture and glanced at Gao Yangyu. Then, a horrified expression appeared on Gao Yangyu's face. Xiao Chen stretched out his finger and placed it on Gao Yangyu's forehead. A strand of purple flame shot out, and a bloody hole appeared in Gao Yangyu's head. Then, his body went limp and fell over. Xiao Chen removed Gao Yangyu's spatial ring and tossed it to Bai Lishi. Then, he said casually, "Let's go to the Holy Fire Manor's branch." The Holy Fire Manor was considered a first-rate power in the southern islands. The Manor Lord and a Supreme Elder were martial monarchs. With 2 bona fide martial monarchs holding down the fort and 12 half-step martial monarch inner sect elders, they were indeed very strong in the southern islands. However, when considering the entire ancient desolate land, such a power was not sufficient. This was clear from the Holy Fire Manor's branch in Desolate City. The Holy Fire Manor occupied only 100 acres of land. Compared to the Thousand Sword Pavilion's branch, it was much smaller. Although the Holy Fire Manor was small, it had everything: fake mountains, flowing rivers, pavilions, corridors, and flower racks. However, the Holy Fire Manor was much smaller. Looking down from above, it was only the size of a palm. It would be quite cramped with so many buildings. Ling Yun and Qin Yu leisurely played a game of Go in a secluded hall with simple and unadorned decorations in the courtyard. There were 15 lanterns at the side. 15 flames swayed gently, illuminating the hall like it was daytime. "Uncle Qin, that fellow has been hiding in the inn recently. Does he not want to leave Desolate City?" Old Qin smiled faintly and placed down a Go stone. He said, "Xiao Yun, be more patient. Although we have the connecting chains talisman to avoid the eyes and ears of the sages, it is still too conspicuous in Desolate City. Let him live for a few more days." Ling Yun glanced at the messy Go board and said in frustration, "This fellow snatched away my Extreme In Flame's origin flame. If father finds out, he will strip me of my status as a legitimate son. I will not be able to rest until I get it back." However, Qin Yu smiled coldly to himself. "Who asked you to covet that peak demon core back then? Even if you are not capable, you still went to join in the fun. Serves you right for this retribution." However, Qin Yu's expression did not change at all. He smiled and said, "Young Manor Master, don't worry. If he does not leave the city in half a month, we will contact Gao Yangyu and kill him. With our strength, dealing with him together will not be difficult." "Is that so?" Suddenly, cold laughter came from the hall. The flames of the 15 lanterns swayed wildly, and a killing chi appeared for no reason. Qin Yu's expression changed. He looked straight at the door and said, "Do you not know where this is? How dare you come here and cause trouble?" At the same time, Qin Yu gestured to the right and instructed Ling Yun to go out the back door to call for help. "Stop calling for help. Only the 2 of you are left in this courtyard." Bang! 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 The corpses carried surging energy as they smashed the door to the side hall into pieces. Then, they landed heavily in front of the group. The corpses all died in the same state. A bloody hole appeared on their foreheads. Their eyes were wide open, and they died with grievances. When Ling Yun and Qin Yu saw the familiar corpses on the ground, their hearts immediately sank. Who was so powerful? To think that they managed to silently kill all the guards in the courtyard in such a short time. Dong! 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 Outside the open door, Xiao Chen and Bai Lishi walked in with their heads held high. They looked at the two coldly. "It's you." Qin Yu narrowed his eyes, feeling extremely astonished. He had not expected that when he did not go looking for Xiao Chen would take the initiative to kill his way over. Xiao Chen smiled faintly and said, "Old Qin, we meet again." Qin Yu remained expressionless as he said in a cold voice, "Good. Instead of living for a few more days, you actually dared to take the initiative to send yourself over. This saves me the trouble of looking for you." Bai Lishi tossed out Gao Yangyu's corpse and said, "Gao Yangyu said the same thing. Unfortunately, he is dead now." The moment Gao Yangyu's corpse appeared, Ling Yun's expression immediately changed. Even the calm Qin Yu's expression turned unnatural. "Uncle Qin, help me hold on for a while. I'll go find someone to help." When Ling Yun saw that the situation was bad, he quickly fled, heading for the back door. Bang! When Ling Yun arrived at the door, a strong figure blocked his way. Bai Lishi smiled and said, "Why are you running? Let me play a few moves with you." Chapter 497. When Qin Yu saw Bai Lishi leave Xiao Chen, he found an opportunity and attacked at lightning speed. A pale white flame burned on his palm, and the surrounding air instantly turned cold. Xiao Chen's eyes lit up. This person actually has an extreme flame as well. If I collect it well, my lunar true flame will grow stronger. Even though Xiao Chen thought this, his hands did not slow down. He sent out a palm strike as well. A purple pure yang true flame burned on his palm. Bang! Yin and yang countered each other. The instant the two palms clashed, they produced a strong explosive force. A shockwave surged out, tearing apart half of the side hall. Even Bai Lishi and Ling Yun, who were fighting, received a significant impact. The shockwave knocked them back a few steps. Ling Yun was in an even worse state. His complexion was pale, and blood leaked out of the corner of his mouth. However, old Qin did not care about that. He stood firm and charged at Xiao Chen again, intending to deal with Xiao Chen as quickly as possible. Xiao Chen dealt with Xiao Chen calmly, not panicking at all. After 10 odd moves, he was only knocked back 100 meters. He did not suffer any substantial damage. Qin Yu felt depressed. He thought back to a few months ago, when he could crush Xiao Chen as easily as crushing an ant. Unexpectedly, Xiao Chen had grown to such a level in such a short time. After exchanging 10 odd moves with Xiao Chen still did not completely crumble. Xiao Chen glanced at the fight between Bai Lishi and Ling Yun. It was nearing its end. Xiao Chen's expression became even more relaxed. He no longer clashed head-on with Xiao Chen, all he needed to do was delay him and not let him leave. After a while, a miserable shriek rang out. Ling Yun finally died at Bai Lishi's hands. This was within expectations. Given Bai Lishi's strength, which was equivalent to a half-step martial monarch's, being able to last for so long was already very impressive. Retreat! After Ling Yun died, Qin Yu knocked back Xiao Chen with one move. Then, he decisively retreated, wanting to leave this place. You want to leave? It's not that easy. If Xiao Chen let this person leave and notified the Holy Fire Manor's headquarters, 2 martial monarchs would be a great threat to Xiao Chen and Bai Lishi. Kacha! Xiao Chen drew the lunar shadow saber at his waist, and a sharp saber intent surged out. A resplendent purple saber chi immediately blocked Qin Yu's path of retreat. Dang! Bai Lishi's attack soon followed. With the two of them working together, they completely blocked off Qin Yu's path of escape. There was not much suspense in the remaining battles. Qin Yu was weaker than Gao Yangyu, so how could he be a match for Xiao Chen and Gao Yangyu? After holding on for an hour, Xiao Chen slashed his throat with his saber. Then, Xiao Chen extracted the origin flame of the extreme flame in his body. Then, he and Bai Lishi quickly left this place. According to the original plan, the two of them left the barren city overnight, and only stopped after traveling for a full 10 miles. At the Heavenly Extermination Lake, Xiao Qin said gratefully to Bai Lishi, "Many thanks for your help. If not for you, the operation would not have gone so smoothly." Without Bai Lishi's help, Xiao Qin would not have been able to eliminate the two hidden dangers so smoothly. Be it Gao Yangyu or Qin Yu, they would not have been easy for him to deal with. Even if Xiao Qin had used all his trump cards and obtained the final victory, he would have suffered significant internal injuries. It would not have been like this, where he had only exhausted a large amount of essence without any major problems. Bai Lishi chuckled and said, "I found it very exciting as well. You have given me all the gains from the two half-step martial monarchs. Now, we are even." "That's right, what do you plan to do next?" Bai Lishi asked after a pause for a while, looking at Xiao Qin. Xiao Qin answered honestly, "I plan to make a trip to the deep-sea battlefield to temper myself and refine my killing qi." Xiao Qin had obtained the state of massacre from the Scarlet Throne. In the end, it was not his own. When he used it, he felt that it was still lacking. Hence, he had to go to the deep-sea battlefield. Bai Lishi laughed loudly and said, "What a coincidence. I am going to the deep-sea battlefield as well. The East Shallow Sea's third-grade battlefield is about to open. I was planning to go with a friend. If you do not mind, we can go together." Xiao Qin was slightly stunned. He said, "Such a coincidence?" Bai Lishi smiled and said, "If not for going to the deep-sea battlefield, why do you think I bought so many secret treasures?" Xiao Qin thought for a while before agreeing to the other party's invitation. Coincidentally, there were many things that he did not understand. With Bai Lishi's guidance, he could save himself a lot of trouble. In a port city in the easternmost part of the Great Chu nation, merchant ships entered and left the bustling port. Xiao Qin and Bai Lishi stood at the shore of the port. However, they were not in a rush to board the ship. Naturally, the East Shallow Sea was in the east of the continent. If they wanted to save time, they could only go to the Great Chu nation in the east. After leaving Desolate City, Xiao Qin and Bai Lishi traveled at full speed. After 7 days and 7 nights, they arrived at the port. Speaking of which, Bai Lishi, who exactly is the friend you mentioned? Even now, you are not willing to tell me. Is there a need to be so mysterious? After leaving the ancient desolate land, Xiao Qin and Bai Lishi relaxed. No matter how strong the holy fire manor was, they would not be able to reach the Great Chu nation. When they chatted, they did not have any misgivings. Bai Lishi smiled and said, "You will know when you arrive. It will definitely be a pleasant surprise for you." Xiao Qin had asked Bai Lishi a few times, but the other party gave him the same answer every time. So, he could only give up. Xiao Qin's curiosity was completely piqued. What kind of person could give him such a pleasant surprise? "The last time we went to the Rank A battlefield, there were about 10 people. However, only the 2 of us survived," Bai Lishi said with a drawn-out sigh. Xiao Qin asked, "What kind of place is the deep-sea battlefield? Can you tell me more about it?" Bai Lishi muttered to himself, "It is time to tell you. There are demons coming out of the spatial crack in the boundless sea at every moment. However, demons are also divided into ranks. Just like humans, they will gather together if their strength is similar. It is just like how martial monarchs will not mix with martial saints, it is impossible for them to mix together. According to the strength of the demons, the factions of the boundless sea divide the regions where the demons live into 6 ranks. Once the number of demons in a certain region reaches a certain number, they will gather all the cultivators in the world to surround and suppress them." Xiao Qin thought for a while and understood what Bai Lishi meant. He continued to ask, "Has the 6th rank battlefield ever opened?" Bai Lishi smiled and said, "It is best not to. Once the peak rank battlefield opens, all the martial sages in the world will rush over. Furthermore, based on history, once the 6th rank battlefield opens, the demonic calamity will not be far away." Dong! 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 Just at this moment, soft footsteps came from behind the 2. Bai Lishi did not turn around. He smiled and said, "The person we are waiting for is here." Xiao Chen turned his head to look and saw a middle-aged bladesman in azure with long hair draped over his shoulders. He exuded a sharp aura and a set of facial features. The bloody bladesman, Sun Guangquan. When Xiao Chen saw this person's face clearly, he exclaimed softly in astonishment. He had met Sun Guangquan once before. Sun Guangquan was one of the 10 great bladesmen of the ancient desolate land. He had comprehended saber intent many years ago. The rumor about Sun Guangquan's strength was that unless a martial monarch appeared, no one could defeat him. Back on Shenren Island, Xiao Chen had not seen Sun Guangquan make a move. However, he could clearly sense that Sun Guangquan was much stronger than the others. That was the intuition of a bladesman. Xiao Chen had not expected that the friend Bai Lishi mentioned would be Sun Guangquan. To him, this was a pleasant surprise. Sun Guangquan had comprehended saber intent many years ago. Xiao Chen had only comprehended saber intent recently. With this person's guidance, he would definitely improve rapidly. Sun Guangquan sized up Xiao Chen and immediately sensed the buzzing saber intent in Xiao Chen's body. He was slightly stunned and guessed Xiao Chen's identity. Bai Lishi smiled and said, "Old Sun, you must have heard of Xiao Chen before. This time, he will be coming with us to the deep-sea battlefield." Sun Guangquan nodded and smiled softly. Who in the world of bladesmen does not know the name of the white-robed bladesman? Xiao Chen smiled embarrassedly and said, "Before Senior Sun, how could I dare to be called a bladesman?" When Sun Guangquan heard what Xiao Chen said, he waved his hand and smiled. "Don't call me senior, I don't dare. Our strengths are about the same. Let's talk as equals. If you don't mind, you can just call me Old Sun like Old Bai does." The bloody bladesman Sun Guangquan could be considered a true bladesman. With such a humble attitude, Xiao Chen's impression of Sun Guangquan improved significantly. Xiao Chen no longer felt restrained. He said, "Big brother Sun is too polite." Bai Lishi looked at the two of them interacting with each other. He smiled and said, "I say, the two of you, stop being so polite. Quickly board the ship. If not, we will have to wait another day." The merchant ship set sail and headed for the true depths of the boundless sea, embarking on a long journey. Even with the help of the ocean currents, it would take at least a month to reach the true eastern shallow sea. Naturally, Xiao Chen could not waste such a long time. Aside from his usual cultivation, he would seek out Sun Guangquan every day to discuss his experiences with the saber. As a senior, Sun Guangquan did not hide anything from Xiao Chen. He answered all of Xiao Chen's questions in detail. There were some things that Sun Guangquan did not dare to be certain of. He would discuss them with Xiao Chen before coming to a conclusion. When they had nothing to do, the two would find an opportunity to compare notes with each other. With such a senior, Xiao Chen had benefited a lot along the way. Using this opportunity, Xiao Chen started to practice the four-season saber technique that Bai Shuihe passed on to him. Back then, in the ancient desolate tower, the spot of light that Bai Shuihe shot out was the secret manual for the four-season saber technique. The four-season saber technique was like the Wukue saber technique. They were both peak Earth-ranked saber techniques. However, the four-season saber technique focused more on intent and not form. Hence, it was much more difficult to comprehend. As Xiao Chen fought with Sun Guangquan, he continuously perfected his four-season saber technique. As a fellow bladesman, Sun Guangquan could keenly point out the inadequacies of Xiao Chen's saber technique. After traveling for many days, they were no longer far from the eastern shallow sea. On this particular day, the three gathered together and started chatting. Then, Xiao Chen thought of a question. He said, "Big brother Sun, I have some doubts. Why are you known as the Bloody Bladesman and the ancient desolate land's 10 great bladesmen? Why have I not heard anyone mention them in Desolate City?" When Sun Guangquan heard this, he could not help but smile. He said, "The ancient desolate land's 10 great bladesmen were known by that name many years ago. Everyone knows their own limits. Now, there are too many geniuses. This is the budding era of geniuses. Everyone is very low profile, afraid that they might end up as stepping stones. Bai Lishi added, "That is true. The experts of the older generation all value their reputation. They are all in closed-door cultivation. No one mentions their previous titles, like the 4 great bladesmen and 4 great swordsmen of Desolate City anymore." Chapter 498. Xiao Chen did not expect this to be the reason. He could not help feeling a little awkward. Sun Guangquan laughed heartily and said, "I'm not talking about you. In fact, I don't like people who take advantage of their seniority. They don't dare to face the truth and still insist on putting up a strong front. They deserve to be slapped in the face and used as a stepping stone. When I was young, I did a lot of these things." As for why he's called the Blood Bladesman, just as Sun Guangquan was about to explain, the merchant ship suddenly came to a stop. With their cultivation bases, they were naturally unaffected by this extreme change in speed. However, the ornaments in the room were not so lucky. It fell to the ground, and some of the porcelain was smashed into pieces. Bai Lishi said doubtfully, "Strange, why did it suddenly stop? Furthermore, it stopped in such a rush." "Let's go out and take a look," Sun Guangquan suggested. Dong dong dong. Just as the 3 of them were about to take action, there was an urgent knock on the door. The door opened and an attendant said in a fluster, "The 3 of you must be cultivators. Please gather on the deck quickly." Xiao Chen asked, "What happened? Did you run into a pirate ship?" The attendant squeezed out an ugly smile and said, "It's even more troublesome than a pirate ship. It's a warship of the Black Dragon Society." Black Dragon Society? Bai Lishi and Sun Guangquan could not help but exchange strange glances. "Could it be that you want us to help you resist the Black Dragon Group?" "That would be difficult." The attendant said, "No, it is the Black Dragon Group's request. All the cultivators who are preparing to participate in the 3rd grade battlefield must gather on the deck." The Black Dragon Triad was the largest force in the Endless Sea. Its fleet cruised the seas in all directions. 5,000 years ago, after a fierce battle with the Eastern Sea Divine Dragon Palace, the Eastern Sea Divine Dragon Palace occupied half of the islands in the Eastern Shallow Sea, making it the overlord of the Boundless Sea. Back then, the Divine Dragon Palace was like the sun in the sky. It was the leader of all the factions in the 4 seas. The old Dragon King's prestige was extremely high. With a single order, countless sects in the 4 seas would listen to him. But in that battle, the Divine Dragon Palace still lost. The old Dragon King died in battle, and the 4 shallow seas no longer had an alliance leader. After that battle, the Black Dragon Triad became a god. From a force in the outer seas, it became the overlord of the 4 seas, controlling all the trade routes in the sea. On the way to the deck, Bai Lishi gave Xiao Chen a simple explanation of the Black Dragon Group, causing Xiao Chen to feel astonished. Who would have thought that in the Boundless Sea, far away from the mainland, there would be such a colossus as the Black Dragon Triad? Before this, there had never been any news of it on the mainland. Sun Guangquan said, "But now, the Divine Dragon Palace's strength has increased greatly. The Black Dragon Group's edge in the Eastern Shallow Sea is no longer as great as before. So don't think too much about it. Let's go to the deck and see what kind of tricks they're playing." Hundreds of cultivators stood on the wide deck. Their cultivations were not low, they were at least superior-grade martial kings. When Xiao Chen looked around, he discovered 2 or 3 half-step martial monarchs. 6 huge black warships stood on the surface of the sea in front of the merchant ship. The ancient demonic energy cannons on the warships were open and flickered with a cold light. The ancient demonic energy cannons were very mighty. When filled with inferior-grade spirit stones, they could severely injure a martial saint in one shot. When filled with medial-grade spirit stones, they could easily injure an inferior-grade martial king. If filled with superior-grade spirit stones, even a martial monarch would be on tenterhooks and would not dare to clash head-on. With the deterrence of several dozen ancient demonic energy cannons, the many cultivators on the deck all showed cautious expressions. They did not dare to be too impudent. Dong! 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 Just at this moment, footsteps came from the ship's hold. Another cultivator came out. Xiao Chen turned his head and saw that this person had an exquisite figure and voluptuous curves. She wore black leather armor and carried 2 short swords on her back. She wore a half mask that covered her face. Her black eyes were very deep and mysterious. Unexpectedly, Shi Feng was on the ship as well. Xiao Chen was very curious about this person. He had always wanted to know why she knew Qingyun Peak's 9 secret techniques. However, when Xiao Chen saw the unapproachable aura of Shi Feng, he gave up on the thought of greeting her. Xiao. After everyone arrived, 5 cultivators wearing black battle armor flew over from the warship. Their auras were incredibly dense. The person leading them was very strong, a half-step martial monarch. That person had a straight face, short hair, and spirited eyes. He looked very capable. He smiled faintly at the crowd and said, "Let me introduce myself. I am an insignificant captain of the Black Dragon Group's 9th Legion. My name is Jian Chainan." One of the half-step martial monarchs said somewhat impatiently, "Just speak directly. Why are you stopping us? Cut the crap." Even though Jian Chainan was interrupted in front of everyone, he did not get angry. He continued, "There is no rush. It is nothing major. Aren't you going to the 3rd grade battlefield for experiential training? You can participate through my Black Dragon Group as well. Furthermore, the reward is double that of the Divine Dragon Palace." The moment Jian Chainan said this, a commotion broke out. Double the reward, this temptation was not small. However, some of the people who had been to the deep-sea battlefield smiled coldly to themselves. Their expressions did not change. Bai Lishi said softly, "Don't listen to him. The Divine Dragon Palace controls the main junctions of the 3rd grade battlefield. The Black Dragon Group only controls a small corner. Furthermore, it is not the main area of activity for the demons. No matter how high the reward is, it is useless." Jian Chainan continued, "As long as you agree to come with us, we will give you 10,000 medial-grade spirit stones when you board the warship. When you return, we will give you another 100,000. If you kill more demons, the reward will increase." A commotion broke out in the crowd. Some of the cultivators who came to the boundless sea for the first time were tempted. 10,000 medial-grade spirit stones was not a small sum. After the mission ended, they would be able to obtain at least 100,000 medial-grade spirit stones. If they did not die, it would be a large sum. "I am willing to go." Immediately, someone who came to the boundless sea for the first time thought about it. He felt that it was profitable and agreed to the other party's request. Jian Chainan immediately tossed out a few boxes of spirit stones and handed them to that person. He smiled and said, "You made the right choice. Get on the warship." That person gently counted the spirit stones and revealed a happy smile. Then, he leaped up and landed on the warship in front. "I am willing as well." "I am willing as well." Seeing that someone actually obtained the spirit stones, the number of people who agreed increased. Soon, most of the people on the warship left. Only 10 odd people who knew the inside story did not waver. These people were all peak martial kings. A few were like Sun Guangquan, some were even half-step martial monarchs. 10,000 medial-grade spirit stones did not interest them. What they sought was a true experiential training, where they could disregard life and death. However, in the face of the limits of their lives, they needed to continuously stimulate their potential and advance their cultivation. The Black Dragon Group would not be able to satisfy them. After the group of people who came to the Boundless Sea boarded the Black Dragon Group's warship, Jian Chainan looked at the crowd and smiled, "Many thanks to everyone for not giving me any trouble. You are all true elites. You are all very clear on the situation of the deep sea battlefield. Your treatment is even better than that group of people earlier." Bai Lishi mocked, "What do you mean? You make it sound like we agreed to go with you. I don't think we said we would go with you." However, Sun Guangquan sent a voice projection to Xiao Chen, "Prepare to abandon the warship and head west. That is the area controlled by the Divine Dragon Palace. Do not sink to the bottom of the sea. The sea monsters there are very difficult to deal with. Xiao Chen's heart sank. It looked like this experiential training involved the internal strife of two peak powers. It would not end peacefully. The other half-step martial monarch said, "In this boundless sea, your black dragon group is not the only one who can do whatever you want. Now that we are in the Divine Dragon Palace's territory, there is nothing you can do to us." Jian Chenan's face sank. He smiled coldly and said, "Do you think you can get there? I will say this, whether you want to or not, you will still have to go. Let's go." The remaining 10-odd people on the deck were all astute and decisive people. When they saw that the situation had reached a point of no return, they did not hesitate to abandon the warship and leave quickly. Xiao Chen immediately jumped off the warship and headed west. His figure flickered, and in a few breaths, he had traveled a kilometer. Jian Chenan's expression remained calm. He was not too surprised. When he returned to the warship, he waved his hand and said, "Blast them all. Leave no one alive." Boom! The ancient demonic energy cannons on the warship, which had already been filled with spirit stones, immediately lit up. Horrifying spiritual energy poured out and shot resplendent beams of light at the scattered cultivators. Xiao Chen had his spiritual sense spread out. He instantly felt 10 beams of light heading for him. If they all struck him, even if he did not die, he would be skinned alive. A bolt of lightning flashed. Xiao Chen executed lightning evasion and instantly moved 100 meters to dodge. Miserable cries resounded. In an instant, 4 or 5 peak superior grade martial kings fell from the warship. Boom! 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 The 6 warships did not give the cultivators any time to hesitate. They soared into the air and fired their cannons again. The remaining people used cloning techniques to dodge the might of the ancient demonic energy cannons. Some directly attacked, weakening the might of the ancient demonic energy cannons. Others used ingenious movement techniques to nimbly dodge. However, the 6 warships were not in a hurry. They chased after the cultivators like venomous snakes, trying to kill them all. As the cultivators dodged the attacks of the ancient demonic energy cannons, they inevitably slowed down. The distance between the warships and the cultivators shrank. Sun Guangquan said to Xiao Chen, "Split up. Old Bai and I have our own ways to protect ourselves. We will think of a way to regroup when the time comes." Xiao Chen nodded in agreement. This was the only way for now. If they stayed together, they would be too big of a target. Chi! Chi! The 6 warships had a total of 60 ancient demonic energy cannons. The resplendent beams of light in the air did not stop for even a moment. Xiao Chen pushed the blue dragon cloud soaring art to its limits. He used it continuously in the air. Be it the warships flying or firing the ancient demonic energy cannons, they all exhausted a large number of spirit stones. The cultivators would definitely not chase after them endlessly. As long as they persevered to the end, they would be able to shake off their pursuers. However, this was easier said than done. Of the 10-odd cultivators, only 7 or 8 remained bitterly holding on. At this moment, the gap between the cultivators and half-step martial monarchs became clear. Chapter 499. The 3 half-step martial monarchs were at the very front. As long as they held on for a while longer, they would be able to escape the range of the cannons. What made Xiao Chen flabbergasted was Bai Lishi. This fellow relied on his strong physical body and the 5 or 6 defensive secret treasures he had. Bai Lishi completely ignored the bombardment of the cannons and endured a few attacks. Unexpectedly, he managed to walk in front of everyone. Xiao Chen's chest tightened. If these people walked out, the remaining cannons would focus on them. The situation would become even more dire. I cannot drag this out. I have to use all my trump cards. Otherwise, I will not even have a chance to use them. After Xiao Chen made up his mind, he no longer hesitated. The silver warship came out from his right eye, and Xiao Chen quickly hid in the hold of the silver warship. Bang! Bang! In an instant, a few beams of light struck the body of the silver warship, causing it to tumble uncontrollably in the air. Xiao Chen quickly lowered his feet and stabilized the direction of the warship. Then, he quickly flew to the west. With the warship as a buffer, Xiao Chen did not have to worry too much. He no longer had to dodge, and his speed increased significantly. However, the warship did not have any defensive formations. Soon, cracks appeared on it. Xiao Chen ignored the cracks on the warship and charged forward with all his might. The blood flame shoes on Xiao Chen's feet glowed. He could use the secret technique at any time. Bang! Finally, the silver warship could no longer hold on. It shattered into countless motes of light and returned to Xiao Chen's right eye. Xiao Chen did not panic. The instant the warship shattered, he activated the secret technique of the blood flame shoes. His speed immediately reached Mach 4. Xiao Chen turned into a beam of purple light and moved far away in the blink of an eye, leaving the beams of light behind him. He was still 500 meters away from the range of the ancient demonic energy cannons. However, he had attracted too much attention. Furthermore, the half-step martial monarchs had already fled. The next wave of attacks would be even more ferocious than before. "I'm going all out." Xiao Chen's expression turned serious. He placed his right hand on the hilt of his saber and closed his eyes. With the sweep of his divine sense, he saw the light beams coming from all directions. Xiao Chen's mind, energy, and spirit gathered into a line. The state of thunder and saber intent brewed silently. "Break!" Xiao Chen suddenly opened his eyes and shouted. The lunar shadow saber turned into a bolt of lightning as he drew it. It was like Xiao Chen had eyes on the back of his head. He sent out 12 saber chi containing boundless saber intent and the state of thunder, clashing with the resplendent pillar of light. Bang, bang, bang. Intense explosions rang out continuously in the void. As the shockwaves surged, even space itself began to ripple. For the 12 strands of saber chi, Xiao Chen exhausted 3/4 of his essence. This was the strongest he could burst out within one breath. After Xiao Chen swung his saber 12 times, he felt like he was about to collapse. Sweat appeared on his forehead. However, he managed to block the 9 peerless beams of light. On the deck, Jian Chainan watched the white figure break the 9 ancient demonic energy cannons. He had an astonished expression on his face. This was the first time Jian Chainan saw a youth erupt with such strength in such a short time. Even some of the older generation cultivators would find it hard to do so. No matter how dense one's essence was, if one's explosive power was not strong, it would be hard to say who would win in a real fight. When Jian Chainan saw that Xiao Chen had already escaped the range of the ancient demonic energy cannons, he asked the cultivators from the Tianwu continent, "Who is this person? Do you know him? He seems to be the great Qin nation's white-robed bladesman." However, it is not him. "It is hard to be sure," someone whispered. The white-robed bladesman, Jian Chainan frowned. He shook his head and said, "I hope he is just an ordinary genius. Otherwise, if we let him go, we will be in big trouble." Surging seawater stretched as far as the eye could see. Xiao Chen sat cross-legged on the surface of the water, following the waves as they surged forward. He held 4 medial-grade spirit stones in his hand as he quickly recovered his essence. He had exhausted too much of his essence. If he did not replenish it quickly, he might end up in the stomachs of the fish in this seemingly peaceful boundless sea. After 1 hour, the 4 medial-grade spirit stones were completely exhausted. Xiao Chen's essence barely recovered by half. However, this was enough to protect himself. Xiao Chen casually tossed aside the spirit stones and looked into the sea. The deep seawater could not obstruct his vision. At a depth of more than 100 meters, Xiao Chen saw a strange black fish. It was about the size of a palm and covered in sharp scales. There were so many of them that it was flabbergasting. With a rough count, there were at least 1,000 of them. No wonder Sun Guangquan had instructed him not to sink to the bottom of the sea no matter what. If he did that, he would be able to avoid the attacks of the ancient demonic energy cannons. However, if he were to face the attacks of thousands of these strange fish, he would die even faster. Xiao Chen stood up and looked around. The earlier rush had already separated him from Bai Lishi and Sun Guangquan. Xiao Chen withdrew his gaze and discovered something that was somewhat difficult to deal with. Above the vast sea, the scenery was exactly the same everywhere. No matter which direction he looked from, it was all the same, endless seawater. The sky was dark again. He could not see the sun or anything to use as a point of reference. He had no way of determining his direction. Xiao Chen revealed a helpless smile. He had already survived through wind and rain. Unexpectedly, he was stumped by such a small problem. Since he did not know the direction, he should not move around randomly. Otherwise, he might end up getting more and more wrong. He should be able to determine his direction by looking at the stars at night. However, it was only a matter of a few hours. There was no need to panic. He would wait for a while. Since there was nothing to do, there was no need to waste time. Xiao Chen drew his lunar shadow saber and quietly practiced the four-season saber technique on the surface of the sea. The four-season saber technique had only 5 moves: spring, summer, autumn, winter, and cycle of seasons. However, each move was ever-changing. There was nothing special about it, it depended on one's control. Xiao Chen infused the various scenes of spring, summer, autumn, and winter into his saber techniques, forming his own unique mysterious phenomenon. For example, Bai Shuihe comprehended the scene of spring's water turning from warm to cold. The corresponding scene was water. However, the scene that Xiao Chen comprehended in spring was thunder. The first thunder of spring, the cries of 10,000 beasts. In Xiao Chen's original world, the people called the first thunder of spring thunder. During the long, cold winter, all the beasts of the world would enter hibernation. This spring thunder was the bell that woke them up. As the thunder roared, the lifeless winter was silent for a long time. The cries of hundreds of beasts announced the arrival of spring. This was the state of Xiao Chen's saber technique. It took the meaning of spring thunder and commanded all the beasts in the world to cry. Winter passed and spring came. The cycle of heaven and earth was unstoppable. As for summer, autumn, and winter, Xiao Chen was still pondering them. He did not have a clear idea. Sun Guangquan had also given him a lot of advice, broadening his thinking and making him more cautious. On the calm surface of the water, Xiao Chen continuously perfected this move. However, every time he was about to explode, he would stop. This was because Xiao Chen felt that something was missing. If he just exploded out like this, he would not be able to achieve the effect he wanted. Just like that, Xiao Chen tirelessly practiced on the surface of the sea. As he swung his saber, he would always stop at the last moment and start again from the beginning. This repeated countless times. Without realizing it, Xiao Chen completely immersed himself in the saber technique. Xiao Chen forgot where he was and his purpose in coming here. He even forgot who he was. There was only this saber in his mind. Xiao Chen did not know that a pretty black figure was watching with interest from a kilometer behind him for a long time. However, after a while, that woman watched as Xiao Chen's exquisite saber technique always got stuck at the last moment and had to start over again, repeating this process over and over again. She felt extremely depressed. Such an exquisite saber technique had attracted her attention at first glance. She wanted to see how earth-shattering it would be at the final moment when it erupted. However, this guy in front of him was extremely brainless. Every time when the audience was most excited, he would get stuck and start all over again. This happened over and over again. Finally, that person could no longer hold back her anger. Speaking of which, can't you just erupt a little? Every time you get stuck at the most crucial moment, it makes me very unhappy. Do you know that? The sudden voice startled Xiao Chen out of his trance-like state. He sheathed his saber and turned his head to look. He discovered that Shifeng had arrived behind him at some point in time. Xiao Chen smiled bitterly and said, "I want to erupt as well. However, I still lack inspiration. If I force it, there will be a huge flaw in this move." The four-season saber technique was very different from regular martial techniques. It focused on the intent, the form was secondary. If one forced it out, the intent would not be complete. The might of the saber technique would be greatly reduced. Once it was fixed, it would be very difficult to change. Spring, summer, autumn, and winter were all linked together. If the first link was not grasped well, it would severely affect the next three links. Hence, this first spring thunder, 10,000 beasts cry together had to be completed in one breath, allowing it to reach its most perfect moment before erupting. The masked Shifeng said, "In that case, you are really extraordinarily bored. Since you know that the inspiration has not arrived, why are you still standing here like a fool? Why are you not rushing to meet up with the Divine Dragon Palace's people?" Xiao Chen shrugged his shoulders and said, "I'm lost and cannot find my way. I can only wait until it is dark before making my move. In any case, I have nothing better to do." Shifeng shook her head and said, "I really don't know what you are thinking. To think that you did not even make such preparations before coming to the boundless sea. The waves are very strong at night. Come with me, I have a tracking tool." This was somewhat surprising. He had not expected Shifeng to be so easy to talk to. Xiao Chen thanked her. Xiao Chen followed behind her, heading west on the calm sea. Along the way, Xiao Chen took some time to ask, "I have been very curious. Who taught you the 9 secrets of Qingyun Peak?" "Those are the secrets of the Heavenly Saber Pavilion's Qingyun Peak." When Shifeng heard this, she paused for a moment. Then, she said, "My adoptive father taught me." However, he did not say that they were the 9 secrets of Qingyun Peak. "This is the first time I heard you mention them." Xiao Chen thought of a possibility that he had guessed before. He continued asking, "Is your adoptive father called Ling Tianhe?" Shifeng stopped and turned her head back. Her eyes filled with doubt as she asked, "How did you know?" Indeed, Xiao Chen guessed right. Aside from the Pavilion Masters faction, no one from the other peaks could learn the 9 secrets of Qingyun Peak. Chapter 500. Furthermore, most people would have to swear to their heart demons not to spread the secret technique. Only people of Ling Tianyu's level did not need to follow such rules. Xiao Chen asked somewhat excitedly, "Where is your adoptive father now?" He could finally hand over the divine weapon. No matter what, that thing was a hidden danger. Once it was exposed, even if he had 9 lives, it would not be enough. Shifeng's gaze turned wary. She asked, "What are you trying to do?" I'm fine. I was just asking. Can you tell me? I want to seek advice from him. After all, I am from the Heavenly Saber Pavilion. Xiao Chen wanted to tell the truth. However, when he thought about it, the divine weapon was too important. He could not reveal it so easily. So, he could only make up an excuse. Shifeng said coldly, "You are hemming and hawing. With one look, I know you are lying. It would be strange if I told you." Xiao Chen smiled and did not deny it. This matter could not be rushed. He finally had some clues. All he had to do was grab hold of Shifeng. He would eventually find Ling Tianyu. The two of them continued forward. Xiao Chen was very interested in the girl wearing the mask. Along the way, he tried to find something to talk about. He discovered that Shifeng was different from what he imagined. She was not as cold as she looked. Although she was wary of Xiao Chen, she was not too guarded against him. Speaking of which, why are you wearing a mask? Why would you not dare to show your true face? Xiao Chen asked another question that interested him. Shifeng said indifferently, "My adoptive father made me wear it. He said that when I fight, I cannot control my expression. It is easy for my opponent to see through me." Xiao Chen felt it was strange. He said, "In that case, if you cannot control your expression for the rest of your life, won't you have to wear this mask forever?" Shifeng said coldly, "Are you cursing me?" Xiao Chen smiled and said, "How can that be? I was just saying it casually. Don't overthink it. I hope that you can take off your mask now. That way, I can see your true face." When Shifeng heard this, she said, I will. The first purpose of this experiential training is to take off my mask. What's the second purpose? One more step and then I'll defeat you. I've never lost to someone of the same generation. You'd better not die on the battlefield. Xiao Chen was speechless. Speaking of which, you're helping me lead the way now. Could it be that you're also afraid that something might happen to me? When the time comes, your strength will increase greatly, but you won't be able to find a whetstone, right? Shifeng nodded and smiled, you are absolutely right. However, the whetstone has to be changed to a whetstone. I train with the sword, not with the saber. Xiao Chen immediately felt depressed. No wonder Shifeng was so kind. It turned out that she had such a motive. In that case, I will still curse you to never be able to take off this mask for the rest of your life. Xiao. Shifeng unsheathed both her swords, and two sharp sword chi flew towards Xiao Chen at lightning speed. Xiao Chen was startled and quickly dodged to the side. Two strands of sword chi slid past him and created two long waves on the water surface. Then, you have no sense of direction. Go ahead by yourself. I won't be accompanying you. Shifeng sheathed her swords and no longer bothered with Xiao Chen. Her figure flashed, and in a few breaths, she disappeared into the vast sea. You really don't understand a woman's heart. She changes on a whim. Xiao Chen felt extremely depressed as he watched Shifeng disappear from his vision. I'll just wait. After all, it will be dark soon. I'll just head west. Gurgle. Gurgle. Just at this moment, a large number of bubbles appeared on the water surface in front of Xiao Chen. After taking 10 steps back, Xiao Chen's expression changed. He placed his right hand on his saber hilt and cautiously sized up the situation in front of him. Chi! A huge azure dragon head emerged from the water. The dragon head was made of metal and did not get wet. With a ka-sia sound, the dragon opened its mouth. Two middle-aged men in purple robes jumped out of the dragon's mouth. Their purple robes were embroidered with gold, and a blue dragon was drawn on their backs. Are you here to participate in the third-grade trial of the battlefield? You just need to answer yes or no, the person on the right said quickly. The person on the right spoke very quickly. When he saw Xiao Chen nod, he said, all right, come up, then. We are from the Divine Dragon Palace. Xiao Chen was not in a rush. Instead, he asked, what proof do you have? When the person on the right heard this, he could not help but frown. He said impatiently, you are just a medial-grade martial king. Why are you speaking so much nonsense? I told you to come in, so just come in. The person who spoke first did not waste any time. He took out a medallion and said, this is the medallion of the Divine Dragon Palace's outer sect elder. It is the real deal. Hurry up. This is still the outer sea, it is under the control of the Black Dragon Group. We cannot stay here for too long. After Xiao Chen saw clearly, he no longer hesitated. He followed the two into the dragon's mouth. The dragon's mouth closed and quickly sank to the bottom of the sea. Then, it swam forward. As the two walked into the dragon's body, Xiao Chen discovered that it was a small underground palace. There were night illumination stones overhead, so it was not dark. When they arrived at the main hall, there were already 10-odd people there. Xiao Chen took a look. They were all cultivators going to the third-grade trial of the battlefield, just like him. However, he did not see Bai Lishi or Sun Guangquan. The atmosphere of the place was rather heavy. Xiao Chen found a corner and closed his eyes to rest. After the two Divine Dragon Palace outer sect elders brought Xiao Chen to this place, they did not linger. They rushed forward anxiously. I heard that 70% of the cultivators who came to participate in the third-grade trial were intercepted by the Black Dragon Group. Of the remaining 30%, 10% were killed. Only 20% managed to escape. With only 20% of the cultivators participating in the third-grade trial, this battlefield will be much more difficult than usual. There will be a slim chance of survival. It looks like the Black Dragon Group is going to make a big move this time. Recently, the Divine Dragon Palace has been rising very quickly. With only 20% of the cultivators, it will be difficult for them to eliminate the demons in the third-grade battlefield. We came at a bad time. Unexpectedly, we ran into the internal conflict between the Black Dragon Group and the Divine Dragon Palace. I wonder if this is a blessing or a disaster for us. Hee hee. Whether it is a blessing or a disaster, it depends on how you look at it. An intense battlefield is more in line with the true meaning of a trial. If it is like playing house, what is the point? The instant the blue dragon swam around, some people in the hall sighed, some became excited, and some remained calm. Everyone was different. Xiaochen felt that this blue dragon warship floated up and down 3 or 4 times, picking up another 5 or 6 people. After that, it swam around for a long time before it finally broke through the water and soared into the sky, piercing through the clouds. After flying for an entire night, Xiaochen leisurely landed on a small island. We have arrived. Come on down. 2 Divine Dragon Palace Outer Sect elders, who had led Xiaochen in, said indifferently to the crowd when they entered the hall. Xiaochen opened his eyes and followed the crowd. Then, he leaped out of the dragon's mouth. Xiaochen looked around and discovered that he was in a huge drill ground. There were hundreds of blue dragon warships in the drill ground. Cultivators continuously leaped out of the dragon's mouth. There were many of them. When all of them gathered, there were more than 2,000 people. Xiaochen felt astonished. Only 20% of them are here, and there are already more than 2,000 people. If all of them are here, there will be more than 10,000 people. The 2,000-odd people here were all elites who had escaped the Black Dragon Group's pursuit. They were all elites. The weakest of these cultivators was a peak superior grade martial king. A third of them were even half-step martial monarchs. Xiaochen did not stop looking. He continued looking and finally discovered Bai Lishi and Sun Guanquan. He quickly parted the crowd and walked over. Bai Lishi laughed loudly and said, "I knew that nothing would happen to you. Indeed, it is as I expected, you are not injured at all." Xiaochen nodded slightly and said, "I heard some things on the ship. It seems like only 20% of the people are participating in the deep-sea battlefield." Bai Lishi nodded and said, "I do not know what the Black Dragon Group is up to this time. However, that is a matter between them and the Divine Dragon Palace. It has nothing to do with us. To us, this might not be a bad thing." Sun Guanquan continued, "The third-grade battlefield is actually not as horrifying as you imagine. The combined strength of the demons does not surpass that of a martial monarch. With fewer people, it only means that we have more missions than usual." Xiaochen asked, "What exactly do we do in the battlefield?" Bai Lishi replied, "It is very simple. We just have to kill demons in the battlefield. Every demon we kill will give us some points. We can exchange the points for medial grade spirit stones or superior grade spirit stones at the Divine Dragon Palace." Xiaochen exclaimed in shock, "We can even exchange superior grade spirit stones?" Bai Lishi smiled and said, "Of course. The spirit veins in the deep sea are much more abundant than those on land. Otherwise, why do you think there are so many people rushing to the battlefield? To put it nicely, it is experiential training for cultivators. Actually, every deep-sea battlefield is a hidden danger to the Divine Dragon Palace. Once there are too many demons and they run out of resources, they will naturally go to the nearby islands to plunder. So, you understand what I mean, right?" Xiaochen nodded to indicate that he understood. Simply put, the experiential training of the deep-sea battlefield was because the Divine Dragon Palace did not have enough manpower and had to spend spirit stones to hire people to help. Cultivators could participate in experiential training and increase their combat experience. At the same time, they could obtain spirit stones. It was killing 2 birds with 1 stone. No wonder so many people came. "Elder Feng, everyone is here." This disciple went to take a head count. There are only 2,300 people. The rest have been taken away by the Black Dragon Group. A middle-aged man in purple dragon robes reported respectfully to an old man on the high platform of the drill ground. This old man's name was Fengbuyu. He was a martial monarch and was one of the Divine Dragon Palace's inner sect elders. He was also the person in charge of this third-grade battlefield. Fengbuyu muttered, "Don't bother with the Black Dragon Group's matters. The higher-ups will naturally send someone to discuss countermeasures. 2,000 elites should be barely enough. Gather them up and set off." "We obey." The purple-robed man received the order and left. He immediately passed down instructions, and the outer sect elders immediately got to work. They gathered Xiao Chen and the others. Ka Xie. Ka Xie. The Azure Dragon battleships that were lined up vertically on the battlefield were divided in the middle and then inlaid together. Soon, to Xiao Chen's astonishment, they formed a huge, rectangular platform. Hundreds of dragon heads lined the sides of the platform. Bai Lishi patted Xiao Chen's shoulder and said, "Don't be so shocked. It is just the Divine Dragon Palace's Divine Dragon warships. When you reach the battlefield, you will be able to see bigger ones. Go on." Chapter 501. When the 2,000-odd people leaped onto the warship, the huge circular platform immediately soared up and floated quietly in the air. Chi! Chi! The 15 dragon heads behind the warship spewed out a huge shockwave. The Divine Dragon warship immediately shot forward. It carried 2,000-odd people and moved at Mach 4. The surrounding scenery flashed by quickly. After flying for more than 50 kilometers, the sky above them suddenly turned gray. Dark clouds churned. The further they went, the darker the color of the clouds became. In the end, it was completely black, completely blocking out the sunlight. When the group looked down, the azure seawater had turned scarlet. A faint smell of blood lingered in the air for a long time. The smell of blood mixed with the smell of the seawater, it was extremely unbearable. Xiao Chen frowned slightly. Aside from the unbearable smell of blood, he could also clearly feel resentment in the air. The resentment of the dead made one feel uncomfortable. It put a faint pressure on one's mind. "Xiao Chen, you felt that mental pressure as well, right?" Sun Guangquan, who had been silent all this while, suddenly asked. Xiao Chen nodded and said, "Yes. It would be difficult for a regular cultivator to bring out their full strength under such circumstances." Sun Guangquan smiled and said, "That's right. The closer you get to the core of the battlefield, the stronger the mental pressure. There is a challenge, but it can also temper one's mental energy. This is why so many half-step martial monarchs come here." As Xiao Chen spoke, a huge Divine Dragon warship appeared in front of them. It was more than 8 kilometers long and 1 kilometer wide. When they looked up, it looked like a small city flying in the sky. No wonder Bai Lishi said that there was no need to be too astonished at the warship under them. Compared to the huge warship before them, it was like comparing a baby to an adult. They were on completely different levels. Figures in purple robes flew out from the huge warship with killing intent all over their bodies. Bang! The warship under Xiao Chen docked with the huge warship. Everyone walked towards the huge warship like it was flat ground. Exquisite tents were set up on the battleship, and a few magic energy cannons could be seen every 100 meters. Fengbuyu led the Divine Dragon Palace's people over to the crowd and introduced the situation of the battlefield. It was not much different from what Bai Lishi had said. After saying that, someone came over and gave everyone a jade card. The front of the jade card was engraved with a cyan flood dragon. That was the symbol of the Dragon God Palace. Behind it were hundreds of horizontal and vertical lines that formed small grids. If one counted carefully, there were no less than 10,000 of them. Every time you kill a demon dweller, a black dot will appear in your grid. Each black dot is 1 point. With this jade token, you can go to the camp to exchange for whatever you want. The person who gave Xiao Chen the jade plate explained everything in detail. After the jade tokens were distributed, some warriors immediately left the place and flew towards the darkest part of the sky. Xiao Chen felt somewhat puzzled. He said, even if the experiential training starts like this, there are no rules and regulations. Bai Lishi smiled and said, it is not that the Divine Dragon Palace does not want to talk about rules and regulations. It is that the demons do not have any rules and regulations. All you need to do on this battlefield is kill the demons you see. I will take my leave first. The two of you will take your leave first. Sun Guangquan performed a cupped fist salute to Xiao Chen and Bai Lishi before leaping into the boundless Scarlet Sea. Xiao Chen felt it was strange. He asked, Big Brother Sun is not coming with us. Bai Lishi explained, this time, he is going to the core of the battlefield. He will not come out until he breaks through to Martial Monarch. His destination is different from ours. As Xiao Chen watched Sun Guangquan leave, he could not help but feel solemn. If he did not come out, it meant that he was prepared to die. If he did not succeed, he would die for a righteous cause. Although Xiao Chen enjoyed a great reputation and was undefeatable unless a martial monarch appeared, he was nothing. However, if a martial monarch appeared, he would be nothing. Xiao Chen was a proud person. Naturally, he was not willing to be stuck below martial monarch for the rest of his life. For this, he would not hesitate to risk his life. Xiao Chen withdrew his gaze and looked at Bai Lishi. He said, your destination should be different from mine, right? Bai Lishi nodded and smiled. Previously, I only went around the periphery a few times. This time, I am going to the inner area. This is your first time here, so you should go around the periphery first. Be careful. I'll be leaving as well. The strength of the three differed. Sun Guangquan was the strongest, Bai Lishi was second, and Xiao Chen was the weakest. Naturally, they could not have their experiential training in the same place. Xiao Chen was not too surprised by this. He muttered, Sun Guangquan can promise himself that he will not come out until he becomes a martial monarch. In that case, I, Xiao Chen, can also promise myself that I will not come out until I become a half-step martial monarch. Deep sea battlefield, here I come. Xiao Chen shouted in his heart. A resolute gaze appeared in Xiao Chen's eyes. He did not hesitate to jump off the divine dragon warship and set foot on the boundless Scarlet Sea. Xiao Chen walked calmly on the Scarlet Sea. Occasionally, cultivators rushed past him, leaving Xiao Chen in the dust. Xiao Chen was not in a rush. He simply walked calmly. After 1 hour, 3 small islands appeared in front of him. The islands were not large, only a few hundred meters in radius. All sorts of talisman scripts floated around the islands, forming a defensive formation. The formations of the 3 islands seemed to be connected to each other, giving off an indistinct spiritual light. If the Divine Dragon warship was the Divine Dragon Palace's main camp, then these 3 islands would be the outposts, acting as a buffer for the main camp. Cultivators in front continuously returned to the small islands in sorry states from the pitch-black sky. Immediately, healing-type cultivators on the islands went to check on the injuries of the people who returned and performed emergency treatment. It looked like these small islands were not just the outposts but also a supply and treatment station for the cultivators participating in the experiential training. The friend in front, wait up. A shout came from behind him. Xiao Chen turned his head to take a look and saw a small team of about 10 people rushing towards him. The person leading the group wore heavy blue battle armor and carried a huge sword on his back. He had thick eyebrows and a wide forehead. With one look, it was clear he was a cultivator who used brute force. This person was a peak superior grade martial king. His eyes were very spirited. Xiao Chen turned around and asked, "What's the matter?" That person smiled and said, "Let me introduce myself first. I am Wu Quan, a disciple of the Great Chu Nation's giant sword gate. These are the companions I invited to participate in the experiential training. I see that you are only a peak medial grade martial king. How about you come with us? After we pass these 3 outpost islands, we will officially enter the battlefield. With more people, it will be easier for us to take care of each other." Xiao Chen thought for a while. Then, he performed a cupped fist salute and said, "In that case, many thanks, Brother Wu." However, my cultivation realm is rather low. Will I be a burden to you? Wu Quan smiled and said, that won't be the case. Cultivation realm is not the only way to measure a person's combat prowess. I see that you walk on the water very easily. Your shoes are not wet at all. You must be an expert in movement techniques. Coincidentally, our group lacks such a person. Xiao Chen smiled and did not say anything more, agreeing to the other party's invitation. Xiao Chen did not know what the deep-sea battlefield was like. It would be good to join this group and familiarize himself with the environment. After that, Wu Quan introduced Xiao Chen to the group. Aside from Wu Quan, the others scoffed at Xiao Chen. They did not show much interest. Although none of them were half-step martial monarchs, none of them were lower than superior-grade martial kings. Hence, they looked down on Xiao Chen, who was only a medial-grade martial king. Xiao Chen smiled faintly and ignored them. He followed the group and continued forward. As he continued forward, the originally dark clouds above his head turned completely pitch black. It was as if ink had been applied to the sky, blocking all the sunlight. Although it was clearly daytime, Xiao Chen's vision was dark. He could see only 500 meters around him. He needed to circulate his essence to his eyes before he could see anything further. There was no wind on the sea. The faint smell of blood in the air seemed to have solidified, making one feel very uncomfortable. The heavy resentment and the formless pressure on one's spirit also put some substantial pressure on one's body. Xiao Chen, we have arrived at the deep-sea battlefield. Look around. If you see any demons, immediately come back and inform us. The one who spoke was the vice-captain of the group, Ping Xingtang. Like Wu Quan, he was a peak superior-grade martial king. However, he looked down on Xiao Chen. When Wu Quan invited Xiao Chen, Ping Xingtang had an unsightly expression on his face. However, because the other party was the captain, Ping Xingtang could not say it out loud. He could only endure it. Xiao Chen was unhappy in his heart. Ping Xingtang's tone was very commanding. However, he did not say anything. He pushed off the ground and left this place. After 15 minutes, Xiao Chen rushed back. He said calmly, there are 10 middle-ranked blood demons about 3 kilometers to the southeast. There are 6 or 7 ghost race cultivators 5 kilometers to the north. There are dozens of high-ranked shadow demons 6 kilometers to the east. There are other cultivators fighting in the demons closest to the other directions. Before coming, Xiao Chen had read some books and gained a basic understanding of the 18 races of demons. Hence, he could name all the demons in the deep-sea battlefield. Wu Quan smiled and said, Brother Zhao's movement technique is indeed powerful. Not many people can do that. It has saved us a lot of trouble. Ping Xingtang smiled coldly and said, so what if your movement technique is powerful? Can it be of any help in battle? Xiao Chen did not bother to argue with Ping Xingtang. He smiled and said, Brother Ping is right. When the time comes, I will just watch. I will not cause you any trouble. Ping Xingtang smiled and said, it's good that you know. Wu Quan, tell me, which of the 3 directions should we go? Wu Quan analyzed for a while and said, the ghost race is difficult to deal with. Let's not go to the north. The shadow demons are weaker. If there are too many of them, it will be problematic. Let's go to the southeast. There are 10 middle-ranked blood demons. With some effort, we should be able to deal with them safely. I think so too. They are just middle-ranked blood demons. They are not that powerful. Ping Xingtang nodded. Xiao Chen had met middle-ranked blood demons in the demon battlefield before. They were as strong as a superior-grade martial king. However, in the deep-sea battlefield, everyone's mental energy was suppressed. They could bring out only 90% of their strength at best. As for local battles, the blood demons would not be affected at all. Chapter 502. Given the situation, they had to be careful when dealing with the blood demons. Otherwise, they might fail miserably. With everyone hurrying at full speed, the blood demon appeared in everyone's field of vision in the time it took to brew 2 cups of tea. Ping Xingting waved his hand, and a saber appeared in his grasp. He smiled sinisterly and said, "I'll take the lead. Let's see how many blood demons there are in the deep-sea battlefield." The others also drew their weapons and followed closely behind him. They all had excited expressions on their faces. Boom! Boom! The scarlet sea churned and waves surged. Ping Xingting was pretty strong. With a sudden burst of power, he severely injured a middle-rank blood demon with 3 saber strikes. However, the other 9 blood demons surrounded him. Wu Quan drew the huge sword on his back and shouted, "Go and help." Dang! Dang! The situation quickly turned chaotic. This team that had formed at the last minute did not have any tacit understanding. The moment they charged over, the experienced blood demons split them up, forcing them to fight their own battles. The advantage of numbers instantly vanished. The scarlet water in the sea choked the noses of several cultivators. Several cultivators even panicked for a moment when the blood splashed on their faces. Xiao Chen shook his head to himself. However, he could not just leave them to die, so he could only wander around. Wherever someone was in mortal danger, Xiao Chen would rush over and draw the attention of the blood demons away. The only one who could attract Xiao Chen's attention was the team leader, Wu Quan. This person was very bold. When he saw that the situation was not right, he immediately attracted the attention of the 3 blood demons. This alleviated the pressure on the team significantly. On the other hand, Ping Xingting did not feel any pressure at all. On the other hand, although Ping Xingting was strong, he only cared about killing excitedly, not paying attention to his surroundings. The battle lasted for an hour. At the price of light injuries, Ping Xingting managed to turn the situation around. How delightful! Ha ha ha! Ping Xingting laughed excitedly as he wiped off the blood on his face. With 1 saber strike, he severely injured the last blood demon. Wu Quan quickly stopped Ping Xingting and said, "Brother Ping, wait for a while. Let's give the points of this blood demon to Xiao Chen. After all, he was the one who discovered the blood demons. Otherwise, we would not have been able to find these blood demons so easily. You would have obtained 2 points already." As the team leader, Wu Quan was still very competent. He had hunted down 3 blood demons, but he had only managed to kill one of them. The last hits from the other 2 sides were given to the other team members. He only got 1 point. Ping Xingting stopped, feeling somewhat displeased. He said to Xiao Chen, "You are right. You can kill this blood demon. I will let you have it." Xiao Chen waved his hand and said indifferently, "There is no need. These points are not enough for everyone to share. I will not join in the fun." Ping Xingting laughed mischievously and said, "Brat, you are quite tactful. In that case, I will not be polite." When the saber chopped down, the blood demon's aura disappeared. Another black dot appeared on the back of Ping Xingting's jade pendant. Wu Quan shook his head. Ping Xingting had killed those 3 blood demons himself, so he could not say anything. After that, it was time to split the spoils of war. The middle-ranked blood demons did not have many valuable items. However, with Wu Quan's help, everyone more or less obtained something. The heads of the 10 blood demons were split among the 5 injured people. With Wu Quan's explanation, Xiao Chen learned that these heads could be exchanged for some high-quality medicinal pills and spirit herbs on the outpost islets. Under normal circumstances, no one had any objections to giving the heads to the injured cultivators first. After resting for a while, the group continued on their way. With Xiao Chen scouting the way for them, they would always find the most suitable prey. After a day of fighting, no one in the group suffered any serious injuries. Only a few people were slightly injured. After some treatment, they would be able to recover their combat prowess. The sky turned completely dark. The dark clouds above made the night seem even darker. The moment night fell, everyone's vision became so dark that they could not even see their own fingers. When Wu Quan saw that someone wanted to take out a night illumination stone, he quickly stopped him. Don't. If you take out a night illumination stone, it will attract all the demons in the periphery. At that time, even if you have 9 lives, you will not be able to survive. That person was startled and quickly stopped what he was doing. With a flip of his hand, Wu Quan took out a palm-sized model of a house. After Xiao Chen formed hand seals, the house immediately turned back to its normal size. It looked very mystical. Wu Quan smiled and said, "This is a secret treasure that I obtained by accident. It is useless in battle. However, it is best to use it to rest. Everyone, go in." The house had tables, chairs, and wooden stools. All sorts of furniture of various sizes were available. There was even a stove for cooking. The night illumination stones were embedded in the ceiling, illuminating the room. However, none of the light shone out. Wu Quan smiled and said, "You all take a simple rest. Tonight, Xiao Chen and I will keep watch." A sinister wind blew. It was already late at night, but the Scarlet Sea was not peaceful. All sorts of strange roars came from it, never stopping. They reverberated endlessly in the night sky, seemingly never going away. The sounds that were not horrifying during the day caused one's hair to stand on end when they heard them late at night. One could even hear the miserable cries of some unlucky cultivators caught by the demons in the night and eaten. The heart-wrenching screams made one's heart palpitate. Wu Quan's and Xiao Chen's expressions did not change much despite all these strange sounds. The two sat on the roof, each holding a bottle of wine as they chatted leisurely. "It was all thanks to you during the day. Now that I think about it, it is incredible." Unexpectedly, not a single severely injured person appeared. Wu Quan took a big gulp of wine and wiped away the wine at the corner of his mouth. Then, he thanked Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen brought the bottle of wine to his lips and took a sip. Then, he smiled gently and said, "You are a good leader. I did not do much." Xiao Chen's words were not exaggerated. Wu Quan was indeed a good leader. After the initial run-in, the team had already formed some tacit understanding. They would no longer be separated by the demons after a short fight. Such a situation was inseparable from Wu Quan's leadership. Xiao Chen did not do much himself. He just went out for a walk and used his spiritual sense to scan the area. When Xiao Chen fought, he did not put in much effort. He only paid attention to the abilities of each type of demon. When Xiao Chen saw a teammate in a dangerous situation, he would lure the demons away. This was basically all he did. After a few more days, when Xiao Chen figured out the habits and abilities of all the demons, he would leave. Hence, there was no need to leave any impression here. Wu Quan smiled gently, tacitly acknowledging Xiao Chen's praise. He took another sip of wine and asked, "Xiao Chen, why did you come to the deep-sea battlefield?" Xiao Chen thought for a while and said, "Naturally, it is to temper my strength and improve further." Wu Quan shook his head and said, "I am not talking about that. Let me put it this way. After you improve further, what do you want to do? Do you want to be a grandmaster of a sect? Do you want to be a wanderer? Do you want to be the protector of a sect? Or do you want to join the royal court?" Xiao Chen was slightly stunned. Wu Quan's question was somewhat interesting. Simply put, why do you want to practice martial arts? Xiao Chen thought for a while and said seriously, "I want to climb to the peak of martial arts and see what the scenery is like at the peak. Then, I want to leave my name in history. Even after 10,000 years, the world will not forget your name because of the passage of time." Wu Quan's mouth gaped slightly. He smiled embarrassedly and said, "This dream is really grand. People like the Tianmu Emperor and the Thunder King are hard to come by even in a few thousand years." Xiao Chen smiled gently and said, "I was just joking. I want to be a wanderer. I want to travel the world and meet the famous bladesmen of the world." Only then did Wu Quan smile in relief. If others heard what Xiao Chen said earlier, they would definitely treat it as the nonsense of a youth who did not know the gravity of the situation. The latter was more normal. However, Xiao Chen did not know that after many years, every time he recalled the conversation he had tonight, he would sigh. The youth from that day had indeed become an existence comparable to the Thunder King. His name would be left in history, lasting for 10,000 years. Furthermore, the so-called legend was by his side. History remembered that white-robed bladesman who liked to wear white robes and always had a calm and indifferent expression. However, it did not remember such a knight. He, Wu Quan, had drunk wine and chatted with that legendary person. Furthermore, that legendary person was his leader in name. The night passed unknowingly as the two drank and chatted. Nothing unexpected happened. The cultivators in the room woke up one after another. When they pushed open the door and looked out, visibility was still very low. However, it was not to the point where they could not see their fingers when they stretched out their hands. After circulating their essence, they could still see very far. "Hey, Xiao Chen, go out and see if there are any demons. This elder brother's treasured saber has been thirsty for an entire night." The first thing Ping Xingting said when he came out was to order Xiao Chen around. His tone was very smooth and did not seem unnatural at all. Xiao Chen found it funny. This fellow is really addicted to using me. He does not seem embarrassed at all. Wu Quan said somewhat worriedly, "How about I go? You did not sleep for an entire night. You might not be in good spirits." "It's fine. It is fine to not sleep for an entire night." Hearing Xiao Chen say that, Wu Quan did not bother with Xiao Chen anymore. It was indeed fine for cultivators to not sleep for a few days and nights. Xiao Chen's figure gently drifted away, and he moved 100 meters. With a few flashes, he disappeared from everyone's sight. Ping Xingting smiled at the crowd and said, "Although this fellow is not very strong, I admit that I am inferior to him in terms of movement techniques." In yesterday's battle, Xiao Chen's information was very accurate. It was as he had said. Xiao Chen had basically just drifted around, not burdening them at all. He did not compete with Ping Xingting for any rewards. He has a good temper and does not compete for anything. I like such youths. Speaking of which, the few of you should learn from him. Newcomers should have the awareness of newcomers. Xiao Chen is your role model. Unfortunately, the youths these days are not very capable, but their ambitions are higher than the sky. They are afraid that others will take away their points. They do not know how to be down to earth and move forward step by step. That is the most important thing. Now, Ping Xingting already had more than 100 points. He was very pleased with himself and started giving pointers to the crowd. Wu Quan shook his head slightly and interrupted, "Let's not talk about this for now. Let's rehearse the formation from yesterday and prepare in advance." Chapter 503. When everyone heard Wu Quan's words, they immediately revealed expressions of relief. They quickly tossed Ping Xingting aside and said, "No problem, Captain." In yesterday's battle, Wu Quan's performance had already won the respect of this group of cultivators. After 1 hour, a white figure appeared on the Scarlet Sea. It was Xiao Chen returning. Ping Xingting immediately asked anxiously, "Xiao Chen, quickly tell us what's going on. My blood is already burning." Xiao Chen felt speechless and amused. He did not know what to say to this person. Xiao Chen took a deep breath and explained the situation he had investigated. Then, he said, "This is the situation. You can decide what to do." Xiao Chen's information was as detailed as before, allowing them to choose calmly. Wu Quan and Ping Xingting discussed for a while and decided to head west. He decided to walk towards the west. There were over 20 middle-level winged demons 2,500 m away from him. The winged demons were demons with wings on their backs. Their entire bodies were covered in a hard layer of skin. They were born with the ability to fly. The green layer of skin on their skin gave them a physical defense that humans did not have. Speed and defense were the winged demons' greatest strengths. However, their greatest weakness was their weak attacks. Even if they used their full power, they would not be able to deal any fatal damage to the group. Of course, it would be a different matter if they were struck in a vital spot. Dealing with the winged demon's speed was also a problem. After 7 or 8 minutes, the group saw the group of winged demons that Xiao Chen mentioned. They were 2 meters tall and were resting on the surface of the sea. They were currently fishing out some strange fish to eat. Ping Xingting had an excited expression on his face. He drew his saber, and a saber light flickered as he charged forward. However, Xiao Chen narrowed his eyes. Among the 20-odd winged demons, he discovered a winged demon with a long aura. It was as strong as a peak martial king. Earlier, Xiao Chen had only used his spiritual sense to scan the area. He had not discovered this hidden winged demon. If they were careless, they would be in trouble. When the winged demons discovered Wu Quan and the others, they stopped eating. They revealed ferocious gazes and flapped their wings, arriving before the group at lightning speed. Dang! 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 Following Ping Xingting's excited roar, the intense battle officially began. The calm Scarlet Sea was immediately stirred up, splashing everywhere. The surface of the sea surged, kicking up huge waves. The group had already matured. They no longer panicked over the blood on their faces. Xiao Chen's figure flashed, and he arrived before the winged demon that he paid special attention to. He threw a punch and stopped the winged demon from making a move. This winged demon was a bit shorter than the surrounding winged demons, however, its green cuticle was much darker. Its black eyes looked more distant too. Xiao Chen withdrew his fist and faced the winged demon in front of him. He revealed a faint smile on his delicate face and said, "Your opponent is me." Winged of. That winged demon sneered. It flapped the wide wings on its back and turned into a green light as it charged at Xiao Chen. Its speed had actually reached 3.5 times the speed of sound. Seeing the approaching winged demon, Xiao Chen's calm expression did not change at all. He stomped heavily on the Scarlet Sea. Xiao Chen clenched his fist and sent out a sharp fist wind, clashing with the winged demon. Bang! The winged demon laughed strangely and punched as well. A huge force knocked Xiao Chen back 100 meters. Xiao Chen pushed off the surface of the water and spun around a few times before he managed to dissipate the force. Who said that the attacks of the winged demon are weak? This winged demon is not weak at all. Although Xiao Chen had only used 30% of his strength in that earlier punch, it still contained 150 tons of force. Yet, he was knocked back like that. It looked like Xiao Chen was right. This was a strengthened winged demon. It was much stronger than the other middle-ranked winged demons. That winged demon was not completely unscathed. It was knocked back several dozen meters before it stabilized. Roar! The winged demon roared ferociously and charged at Xiao Chen again. Xiao Chen did not show any fear as he charged forward as well. However, he increased his strength to 40%. When the fists collided, there was a loud, dull sound. This time, no one moved back. Both sides were evenly matched. However, while the winged demon used its full strength, Xiao Chen only used 40%. When the winged demon's force entered his body, Xiao Chen circulated his essence and easily expelled it. However, the force that Xiao Chen sent into the winged demon's body made the winged demon feel extremely uncomfortable. Xiao! 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 The strengthened winged demon spread its wings. Knowing that Xiao Chen was not easy to deal with, it did not clash head-on. Instead, it flapped its wings and flew up. The winged demon controlled the air currents and shot at Xiao Chen like an arrow. It wanted to use its advantage in speed to harass Xiao Chen and obtain victory in the end. Xiao Chen smiled faintly. He could not be bothered to continue moving. He planted his feet on the water's surface and moved his fists continuously, clashing with the winged demon. If Xiao Chen did not use his essence, he would be faster than the winged demon when the winged demon moved at full speed. However, Xiao Chen's physical defense was much stronger than the winged demon's. When Xiao Chen landed a punch on the winged demon, it was equal to 10 punches from the winged demon. After exchanging more than 100 moves, the winged demon could not hold on any longer. It could not understand why this human's defense was stronger than its own. Xiao Chen looked at Wu Quan's side and discovered that the battle there was almost over. With everyone's perfect cooperation, the 20 ordinary middle-ranked winged demons did not pose much of a threat. There is no need to continue playing. Die! Xiao Chen's gaze suddenly turned cold as he raised the strength of his fist to 80%. Then, he punched at the winged demon. Bang! When Xiao Chen's fist landed on the winged demon's chest, there was a crisp sound. The winged demon's internal organs had all shattered. Its eyes immediately lost all luster. Hu Qi! The winged demon's body flew forward like a broken kite. Ping Xingteng, who had just dealt with a winged demon, looked at the winged demon flying over. His face lit up in joy as he laughed loudly. Good timing. Ping Xingteng stomped on the ground and swung his saber. A saber light flashed, and the winged demon's head flew off. When the others saw this scene, they could not help but be shocked. The winged demon's defense was extremely strong. When they chopped at it with real weapons, they could only leave a shallow wound. The neck was a vital point. Logically speaking, the winged demon's defense should be even stronger. How could Ping Xingteng chop off the winged demon's head with one strike? Everyone could not understand. Speaking of which, Vice Captain, I only found out today that your saber is so sharp. I really underestimated you in the past. Ping Xingteng also felt apprehensive in his heart. This is too easy. It feels like the winged demon flying over is dead, its defense is much weaker. However, Ping Xingteng's expression did not change. He chuckled and said, "It is a piece of cake. A mere winged demon is not worth mentioning." Xiao Chen looked at the back of the jade pendant and saw an additional black dot. He thought to himself, this jade pendant is really miraculous. I just killed a winged demon with one punch, and a black dot appeared on the box. I wonder how this works. Speaking of which, Xiao Chen, you fought with that winged demon for so long. Why did you not draw your weapon? Another member of the team asked curiously when he saw the lunar shadow saber hanging from Xiao Chen's waist. Before Xiao Chen could reply, Ping Xingteng quickly said, "Can you stop discouraging Xiao Chen? It is clear that Xiao Chen is embarrassed to draw his saber when he sees a peak bladesman like me. Why are you still asking? Aren't you just deliberately discouraging him? You cannot be like this. Go do what you need to do. Don't disturb Xiao Chen." Ping Xingteng walked over to Xiao Chen's side and consoled him, "Don't be discouraged. I had a similar experience with you in the past. I understand the grievances in your heart. Work hard, and one day, you will become a bladesman like me." After Ping Xingteng spoke, he patted Xiao Chen's shoulder twice to show his encouragement. However, right after Ping Xingteng patted Xiao Chen's shoulder, his expression turned somewhat unnatural. He withdrew his right hand and hid it behind his back, trembling in pain. Ping Xingteng asked in a quivering voice, "I say, Xiao Chen, what is the meaning of those two steel plates on your shoulders?" Steel plates? Xiao Chen could not react immediately. After thinking about it, he understood. When he clashed with the strengthened winged demon earlier, he had circulated the firmament body tempering art. Before he could disperse his body tempering art, a heaven-ranked body tempering cultivation technique would make every part of his body harder than steel. No wonder Ping Xingteng said that. When Xiao Chen thought about it, he found it funny. This fellow could be considered a peak. After Ping Xingteng dispersed his body tempering cultivation technique, he nodded helplessly and said, "I am too weak, so I can only do this." When Ping Xingteng felt his swollen right hand, he cursed Xiao Chen in his heart. Damn it, it is really painful. However, Ping Xingteng could not find any excuse. He could only say depressingly, "In the future, don't place steel plates on your shoulders. What use is that? Not only can you not injure the enemy, you even injure your own people. No wonder your saber techniques have not improved at all. This is the weakness of your intelligence. It cannot be changed. You are destined to be an errand boy forever. Xiao Chen, come and split the loot." Wu Quan's voice rang out at an appropriate time. Xiao Chen ignored Ping Xingteng's pestering. He quickly walked over and split the loot. After that, everything proceeded as usual. After resting for a while, Xiaochen continued to search the periphery for suitable targets. After that, they swarmed over and attacked as a group. With Xiao Chen's extremely accurate information and the help he provided during the battle, the team moved very smoothly in the periphery. The team's points rose continuously. All the team members were very excited. At the same time, as they fought with the demons, they became more experienced. They were no longer the newbies that they were when they first arrived. This continued for 5 peaceful days. Suddenly, Ping Xingting suggested, "It is pointless to remain in the periphery. Wu Quan, let's go to the inner area. The demons there are stronger, and the value of the materials they have is higher." The smooth sailing of the past few days caused the other team members' confidence to soar. They all agreed, "Leader, let's go to the inner area. There is no point in staying in the periphery." "That's right. With our strength, staying in the periphery is too much of a waste. The human heart is never satisfied." Xiao Chen sighed to himself. This group of people overestimated him. Chapter 504. It was not that Xiao Chen wanted to discourage them. Without his secret help, this team would have struggled to survive in the periphery. Now, Xiao Chen was so ambitious that he wanted to go to the inner area. That was a place that only people of Bai Lishi's level could go. Wu Quan remained silent, not in a rush to answer. He looked at Xiao Chen and said, "Xiao Chen, what do you think? Can we go to the inner area?" Xiao Chen sighed softly and said, "When I went out to scout, I did not see any small perfection half-step martial monarchs returning in defeat." That was all Xiao Chen said. As for what to do, it would depend on Wu Quan and Ping Xingting. Xiao Chen did not want to worry about this. Xiao Chen's purpose in joining this team was to make use of the time they fought the demons to observe the unique characteristics of the demons. Xiao Chen wanted to make full preparations for his future cultivation. He would have to leave sooner or later. Wu Quan pulled Ping Xingting to the side and started to discuss in whispers. Clearly, he was very cautious about whether to go to the inner area or not. After 15 minutes, the discussion was over. Wu Quan walked over to Xiao Chen and said, "I have decided. We will go to the periphery of the inner area and take a look. If we cannot make it, we will still make it in time to retreat. I know that the inner area is very dangerous. Xiao Chen, I will not force you this time. If you are not willing, we can escort you safely to the outpost islets first." When Xiao Chen heard this, he smiled bitterly to himself. Since Wu Quan already said that, what else could he do? After coming to this world, Xiao Chen had seen too much mutual deception and betrayal. There were not many people like Wu Quan, who were truly righteous. To Xiao Chen relied on these people to obtain the information he wanted, and Xiao Chen helped them in secret. They did not owe each other anything. Whether they lived or died, it did not have much to do with Xiao Chen. He could just wash his hands of this matter. However, no matter what, the reason why these people were so confident was more or less related to Xiao Chen. It was difficult for Xiao Chen to wash his hands of this matter and let them die. This was especially so since Wu Quan treated him very well. After taking a deep breath, Xiao Chen smiled gently and said, "Very well, I agree to go to the periphery of the inner area and take a look. I will continue to help you gather information." Wu Quan revealed a smile, and the others heaved a sigh of relief. In their opinion, although Xiao Chen was not strong, his movement technique was indeed amazing. Without Xiao Chen in the team, they would definitely not be used to it. Ping Xingting laughed loudly and said, "I knew that I would not misjudge you. Although your intelligence and saber techniques are not that great, I really like your temper. When we have time in the future, I will teach you some saber techniques." Is to do. After Ping Xingting spoke, he was about to pat Xiao Chen's shoulder out of habit. However, he seemed to recall something. At the last moment, he withdrew his hand at lightning speed. After Ping Xingting spoke, he was about to pat Xiao Chen's shoulder out of habit. However, he thought of something and withdrew his hand at the last moment. Ping Xingting smiled embarrassedly and said, let's go, let's go. Same rules. Xiao Chen, you lead the way. Xiao Chen nodded to indicate that he understood. Under everyone's expectant gazes, he disappeared with a few flashes. Xiao Chen nodded to indicate that he understood. Then, under everyone's expectant gazes, he disappeared with a few flashes. Even from 5,000 kilometers away, one could still vaguely see a humanoid silhouette made of resentment in the whirlpool, baring its fangs and brandishing its claws. There was an island below the whirlpool. That was the core of the third-grade battlefield. The Bloody Bladesman, Sun Guangquan, was on that island, undergoing the final trial for his martial spirit. No one knew if he was dead or alive. The area within 8 to 9 kilometers of the island was the inner area of the third-grade battlefield. The closer one got to the island, the greater the danger. However, Wu Quan and the others only wanted to wander around the periphery of the inner area. For now, they had no intention of entering the inner area. Xiao Chen's spiritual sense turned into rings of light and recorded everything within 3 kilometers into his mind. Then, he easily avoided the demons in the periphery and carefully made his way to the periphery of the inner area. After a while, Xiao Chen stepped onto the boundary between the inner area and the periphery. The instant he stepped over, his spiritual sense picked up strong auras. Bang! 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 All sorts of shouts resounded in his mind. It was the sound of other cultivators fighting intensely. Xiao Chen hesitated for a while before he sent out his spiritual sense. All sorts of battle scenes entered his mind. Xiao Chen also gained a rough idea of the strength of these cultivators. After a while, Xiao Chen withdrew his spiritual sense. He muttered, "It is as I expected. The cultivators in the inner area are at least small perfection half-step martial monarchs. Otherwise, they are all teams of peak superior grade martial kings." In Wu Quan's team, only 2 people were peak superior grade martial kings. The rest were ordinary superior grade martial kings. This won't do. There are already 5 superior grade winged demons. Wu Quan cannot handle their defense, speed, and attacks. 10 superior grade shadow demons, this won't do either. 3 superior grade ghost race cultivators, this will be even worse. They will be wiped out in one exchange. After circling the periphery of the inner area, Xiao Chen searched for suitable prey. Then, he eliminated them one by one. Suddenly, his eyes lit up. He discovered 2 lone high-ranked blood demons. These high-ranked blood demons were stronger than Wu Quan's and Ping Xingting's. If Xiao Chen used his advantage in numbers and paid a price, he should be able to take them down. He could make them suffer a little without paying too much of a price. Given this, Xiao Chen just needed to understand his own strength and retreat in the face of difficulties. After that, Xiao Chen circled the area again. He carefully scanned the area with his spiritual sense, checking for other strong cultivators. This was to prevent unnecessary conflicts. The human heart of the battlefield was always more sinister than the demons. Fortunately, the nearest team is 5 kilometers away. After the battle, I should not have any interactions with this team. After making up his mind, Xiao Chen no longer hesitated. He soared into the air and returned the way he came. After 7 or 8 minutes, he appeared before Wu Quan and the others. Xiao Chen told Wu Quan and the others about what he saw in detail. Then, he waited for the other party's decision. Wu Quan muttered, "We can deal with 2 high-ranked blood demons. The demon core of a high-ranked blood demon is worth less than 10 times that of a middle-ranked blood demon. We can give it a try." The other team members also felt that they could give it a try. None of them had any objections. Ping Xingting's face was filled with excitement. He wished he could charge over immediately. "Let's move quickly, then. If we are late and the others snatch it away, there will be nothing left," Ping Xingting roared and immediately called Xiao Chen to lead the way. Along the way, under Xiao Chen's lead, nothing unexpected happened. The group traveled smoothly. They stopped behind a reef about a kilometer away from the 2 high-ranked blood demons. In terms of appearance, There wasn't much of a difference between the blood devils and humans, apart from the fact that they were slightly fairer. The two high-ranked blood demons looked around the Scarlet Sea, searching for humans they could deal with. Clearly, while the humans were hunting demons, the demons were hunting humans as well. When the blood demons' gazes landed on the reef, everyone felt a strange chill. Their arms trembled slightly. What a fellow! A high-ranked blood demon is indeed much stronger than a middle-ranked blood demon. Just that gaze alone is enough to make one's heart go cold, someone in the team muttered. Even the usually bold Ping Xingtang calmed down. He did not charge forward rashly. After Wu Quan thought for a while, he said, "Xingtang, each of us will lead 5 people and separate the 2 blood demons. We will not give them a chance to work together and end the battle quickly." Ping Xingtang nodded and said, "That is all we can do. You and I have to attack together." After the two discussed who they wanted to bring, Wu Quan said to Xiao Chen, "You should stay the same as before. Just roam around and ensure that you do not get attacked." Fight! Ping Xingtang and Wu Quan soared into the air at the same time and attacked the 2 blood demons at lightning speed. The moment the two moved, the high-ranked blood demons immediately felt their killing chi. They laughed strangely and attacked Ping Xingtang at the same time. A piercing red light appeared on their palms. One high-ranked blood demon blocked Ping Xingtang's saber light while the other sent a palm strike at Ping Xingtang's heart. The 2 blood demons ignored the attack from Wu Quan's gigantic sword. It looked like they were determined to kill Ping Xingtang in an instant, even if they got injured. Damn it! Do you really think this great me is a pushover? At the crucial moment of life and death, Ping Xingtang completely erupted. His saber light lit up again and knocked away the high-ranked blood demon blocking his saber. Bang! Wu Quan's gigantic sword immediately chopped the other blood demon's waist, leaving behind a bloody wound. The sword chi was like a pillar, pushing the blood demon back 2 steps. The attack aimed at Ping Xingtang's heart also shifted. It only left 5 claw marks on Ping Xingtang's shoulder, saving Ping Xingtang's life. The other team members behind Xiao Chen roared and quickly moved according to their original plan. The 6 people on each side split the 2 high-ranked blood demons. Xiao Chen did not make a move. He sat on the reef and watched. The recovery ability of a high-ranked blood demon was not something a middle-ranked blood demon could compare to. To them, it would only take them a few minutes to recover from such minor wounds. Demons were born with an advantage over humans in terms of their physical bodies. Every kind of demon had their own special characteristics that humans could not compare to. They could endure it. High-ranked blood demons were not so easy to deal with. Xiao Chen shook his head slightly and stopped thinking about it. The situation was as Xiao Chen expected. Although they successfully separated the 2 high-ranked blood demons, the battle was still very arduous. The final result was easy to predict. It would definitely be a miserable victory. That way, Xiao Chen would have achieved his goal. By relying on their strong recovery ability, the high-ranked blood demons did not fear the blood demons at all. The more they tired, the more wounds they suffered. Several people were caught off guard and sustained significant injuries. Bang! A blood demon opened a bloody hole in one of the team members' chests. This person flew towards Xiao Chen and sank into the Scarlet Sea. Xiao Chen waved his hand and pulled this person out. Then, he immediately pressed on a few vital acupoints to prevent further bleeding. Then, he took out some recuperation medicine and quickly treated this person. This person's face was pale, and his eyes were wide open. His horrified expression had yet to fade. In that instant, this person had truly felt death approaching. It was like he had just passed by the gates of hell. That kind of horror could not be described with words. Chapter 505. Bang! 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 A few more people were severely injured by the high-ranked blood demon. One of them was especially severely injured. The blood demon's sharp hand had already grasped the other party's heart. All it would take was a little more force to crush it. Fortunately, Wu Quan managed to save the other party in time. The instant the blood demon was about to succeed, Wu Quan chopped off the other party's head with his heavy sword. It was truly a critical moment. In the blink of an eye, someone had died. Xiao Chen had taken on the role of a medic. In the end, with one high-ranked blood demon dead, the remaining one would be easier to deal with. However, Ping Xingting had been careless and allowed the other party to escape. Under such circumstances, no one dared to chase after the blood demon. They could only watch as the heavily injured blood demon fled. After this battle, Xiao Chen had gained a few points and a high-ranked demon core. That was a pretty good value. However, when compared to the price he had paid, he could not smile anymore. 5 people were heavily injured and could not fight for at least 3 days. The others were also injured to varying degrees. Aside from Xiao Chen, the others were all injured. They were both physically and mentally fatigued. They could only end the day like this. Wu Quan looked at the dispirited crowd and felt somewhat heavy in his heart. The price was too high. Xiao Chen was right. The inner area was not a place they could survive. Even the outer area was not good. The difference in strength was clear. Xingting, dig out the demon core and leave this place quickly. This place is too dangerous. Go to the outpost islets. Wu Quan collected his thoughts and stopped blaming himself. He checked everyone's injuries and instructed Ping Xingting. Ping Xingting had an unsightly expression. He sighed and walked over to the high-ranked blood demon's corpse. As Xiao Chen was taking care of an injured person, he suddenly frowned. Someone was coming. The thing that he worried about the most had finally happened. Hee. We are really lucky today. The battle just ended, and we already picked up a fat sheep. Leave behind the high-ranked blood demon's corpse, and you can leave. Suddenly, a team of 7 or 8 people walked over from 100 meters in front. The leader was a middle-aged swordsman over 40 years old. He had a sinister gaze and a long and narrow face. A tyrannical aura spread out from this person's body. With this person's special support, the scarlet water on the surface of the sea rippled and spread out in all directions. As a swordsman, Wu Quan felt a strong pressure. He revealed a horrified expression. Unexpectedly, this person was a half-step martial monarch expert. At this moment, Ping Xingting had just dug out a superior-grade demon core. He said angrily, "We spent a lot of effort to kill them. Do you think we will give them to you with just a word?" The swordsman's gaze turned cold. He sneered, "You want to negotiate with me? Very well. Not only do you have to hand over the high-quality monster core, you have to leave behind your space rings as well. Otherwise, none of you can leave." Kacha. The people behind the swordsman immediately drew their weapons and looked at the crowd with hostile gazes. Everyone immediately tensed up. His eyes were filled with deep unwillingness. He really could not enter the inner area. Not only would he not be able to obtain the monster cores that he had painstakingly killed, now even the wealth that he had accumulated over the years would be taken away. "Hand it over, you." The swordsman took 2 steps forward and tried to grab the superior-grade demon core in Ping Xingting's hand. Ping Xingting cursed, "Screw off. I nearly died to obtain this. It would be strange if I gave it to you." Ping Xingting withdrew his hand and drew his saber. A saber light soared into the sky and hacked at the swordsman. "You overestimate yourself." The swordsman shouted angrily when he saw the ignorant Ping Xingting. He stomped heavily on the Scarlet Sea, and the surface of the sea surged up. Ping Xingting could not stand stably due to the surging waves. His saber light deviated and struck the swordsman's left, kicking up a huge scarlet wave. Xiao! A bright light flashed in the middle of the scarlet water. The swordsman had drawn his sword. The sword light tore through the scarlet water and flicked gently, knocking away Ping Xingting's saber. The sword trembled and a drawn-out sword hum resounded. When the sword light spat out, the scarlet water in the air split in half. Then, the sword pierced towards Ping Xingting's chest. Fast, accurate, and ruthless. Dang! Wu Quan's figure flashed forward and knocked Ping Xingting aside. Then, he held his heavy sword horizontally in front of him, helping to block this sword strike. A surging sword chi came from the sword, causing Wu Quan's internal organs to churn. He felt something sweet in his throat, and he nearly vomited a mouthful of hot blood. Wu Quan forcefully suppressed his hot-bloodedness and said indifferently, "Senior, you can take the superior-grade demon core and I will give you 1,000 medial-grade spirit stones. Can you let us leave first? Who do you think you are to negotiate with me? If you are not strong enough, don't come to the inner area." The swordsman snorted coldly and pressed his sword forward. A huge force came, and Wu Quan could no longer block it. He vomited a mouthful of blood and flew back. Logically speaking, there was indeed a gap between Wu Quan and this swordsman. However, the gap was not that big. Xiao Chen had exhausted his essence and had not recovered from his internal injuries. Hence, he was easily defeated by the swordsman in 2 moves. Paw! A gentle force landed on Wu Quan's back, neutralizing all the force in his body. Then, he landed firmly on the water. Xiao Chen had made a move. When Wu Quan landed on the water, he looked at Xiao Chen and said, "Your movement technique is good. Don't bother about us. Leave by yourself." Xiao Chen shook his head slightly and took out a medicinal pill for Wu Quan. Then, he raised his hand and sent Wu Quan to the reef. Wu Quan was horrified to discover that the force from Xiao Chen was so strong that he could not resist at all. Ping Xingteng, who had picked up his saber, looked at the approaching Xiao Chen. His eyes were filled with shock. "Xiao Chen, why aren't you running? Why are you sending yourself to death? With that saber technique of yours, don't embarrass yourself." Scram! Ping Xingteng was speechless. He thought to himself, there must be something wrong with this fellow's intelligence. Since his movement technique is so good, why is he still here? However, what surprised Ping Xingteng was that the swordsman in front did not make a move immediately. When he saw Xiao Chen slowly walking over, his expression turned grave. Ping Xingteng seemed to hear the hum of a saber in the other party's eyes. When he used his essence, he was startled. Xiao Chen was clearly only a peak medial grade martial king. However, the purity and breadth of his essence seemed to be stronger than Ping Xingteng's. There was only one explanation. This youth could be a genius disciple of a super sect. He had used countless natural treasures and cultivated the peak earth-ranked cultivation technique, or even higher. "Might I ask, little brother, what is your name and which sect you are from?" The swordsman decided to ask around first. If Xiao Chen was a genius disciple of a super sect, even if Xiao Chen could defeat him, it would not be worth it to offend the power behind him. Xiao Chen's expression remained calm. However, at some point in time, his right hand was already on the hilt of the lunar shadow saber hanging at his waist. Xiao Chen replied indifferently, "Brat, Xiao Chen, you are not from a sect. If you are not satisfied, you will have to pay a price. You can take this superior grade demon core. However, don't have any other ideas." A faint smile appeared on the swordsman's face. Since Xiao Chen is not from a sect, it is easy to deal with him. However, I have to test him first. So, he made a gesture with his left hand behind his back. "You are just a medial grade martial king. What qualifications do you have to negotiate with our boss?" One of the swordsman's subordinates immediately understood. He grasped his saber tightly and released a sharp saber light. Then, he took a step forward and hacked down at Xiao Chen's head. Xiao Chen smiled coldly to himself. When he used his spiritual sense to scan the swordsman, he had already seen through all of his opponent's tricks. Xiao Chen's right hand, which was on the hilt of his saber, drew it out by 1 centimeter. Wang! The saber hummed and an unparalleled saber intent poured out wantonly. The swordsman's opponent's sharp saber trembled continuously under the influence of this inextinguishable saber intent. That swordsman was horrified to discover that he could no longer control the saber in his hand. That swordsman quickly stopped and grasped the saber hilt with both hands. However, it was all for naught. There was another melodious saber hum and that saber flew out of his hand, flying into the air. The long sabers in the hands of the other people were immediately drawn into the air by the saber intent and started to spin non-stop. The smile on the swordsman's face froze. Shock filled his eyes as he said in astonishment, "Saber intent." He comprehended saber intent at such a young age. How is this possible? Ka-ca. There was a crisp sound and the saber that Xiao Chen had drawn out by 1 centimeter returned to its scabbard. The weapons that were flying in the air immediately fell into the sea, splashing up blood as they sank. Xiao Chen had used only half a move to defeat his opponent's sudden attack. The appearance of his saber intent shocked everyone present. Ping Xingtong could not believe his eyes. He rubbed them hard and discovered that everything was real. That white-robed youth who had not drawn his saber all this while had not only exquisite saber techniques, but they had also materialized Ping Xingtong's carelessness. Ping Xingtong was far superior to Ping Xingtong. Ping Xingtong thought back to his shameless boasting about teaching Xiao Chen how to use the saber. Now that he thought about it, there was nothing more stupid than that. It was not that Xiao Chen's intelligence was lacking. Rather, it was that Ping Xingtong's intelligence was lacking. Just thinking about it made him feel like an idiot. Suddenly, Ping Xingtong startled awake. His saber had fallen into the sea. If he did not pick it up now, he would not be able to. Ping Xingtong quickly stuck his hand into the water and used his essence to fiddle with it. That saber had been with him for many years. It was his second life, he could not lose it. Ping Xingtong relied on the subtle connection he had with the saber over the years to pull it up. However, before he could rejoice, he cried out in pain. It turned out that Ping Xingtong's fiddling had attracted some of the strange fish in the sea. They swam over with the saber and bit off a few pieces of flesh on his arm. The pain was heart-wrenching. However, no one noticed Ping Xingtong at this moment. No one had seen this embarrassing thing. The swordsman calmed down. A cultivator with saber intent and a storage of essence that was no weaker than his was already capable of fighting him. Xiao Chen's chances of victory were only 50-50. Let's go. The swordsman put away the superior grade demon core and snorted coldly. Then, he turned around and left. Xiao. However, the swordsman had only taken half a step when he drew his sword. Then, he spun around and swung his sword upwards, sending a sharp light at Xiao Chen's neck. Chapter 506. Xiao Chen had never let down his guard against the swordsman. Xiao Chen had observed every move the swordsman made. This little trick would only be asking for trouble. Xiao Chen drew his saber at lightning speed, moving like a silver snake. When the swordsman turned around, he discovered a pitch-black saber pressed against his neck. It was like the swordsman had turned around and handed his neck over. However, his sword was still about a meter away from Xiao Chen's neck. Xiao Chen pressed the lunar shadow saber against the swordsman's neck and said coldly, "Don't try to play tricks with me. You are just a small perfection half-step martial monarch. You are not strong enough in my eyes." Scram! The final word, scram, was like a clap of thunder in the swordsman's ears. Xiao Chen instantly thrust his saber forward and cut the swordsman's skin. The swordsman was horrified. In that instant, he thought he was going to die. "I'll scram. I'll scram. I'll scram." The situation was not in his favor. The swordsman put away his weapon and led his subordinates to flee in a sorry state. He no longer dared to harbor any more thoughts. When Wu Quan and the others saw Xiao Chen scare off the swordsman, the shock in their eyes was indescribable. They had not expected an expert to be hiding beside them. Wu Quan got up from the reef and walked over to Xiao Chen. He had a complicated gaze as he said, "Xiao Chen, what are you trying to do by following us?" Xiao Chen said calmly, "Don't overthink this. I have my own goals, but I have never thought of harming you. However, it looks like I will not be able to accomplish it now. Let's not talk about anything else. I'll send you back to the outpost islets first." Xiao Chen's original plan was to use this group of people to figure out the characteristics of the various demons and make preparations for his own experiential training. Right now, he had only figured out most of them. There were still a few rare demon races that he had not met. Now that this happened, Xiao Qin could only put an end to his plan and act alone. That would be much more troublesome. Along the way, Xiao Qin remained silent. The others were still fine. Although they were shocked at Xiao Qian's strength, they did not feel uncomfortable. As for Ping Xingteng, he felt incredibly embarrassed. Normally, he was the most talkative. However, at this moment, he did not dare to say anything. He felt very uncomfortable walking on the water. He glanced at Xiao Qin from time to time, and his heart was filled with complicated feelings. The 3 outpost islets appeared in everyone's vision. Xiao Qin stopped and said, "I will send you off here. Goodbye. Don't ever go to the inner area again." I really didn't expect that Xiao Qin, who usually doesn't reveal himself, would actually be such an expert. In the past, I had a feeling that he had secretly helped me before. However, I felt that his strength was too low, and I was just overthinking things. Now, it seems that it was true. I really don't know why this person is following us. I really can't figure it out. Hee, how can we guess the thoughts of experts? Don't even think about it. As the team members watched Xiao Qin leave, they began to discuss in low voices. Their words were filled with puzzlement. Wu Quan patted Ping Xingteng's shoulder and said, "Xingteng, he has already left. Don't just stand there and watch." Ping Xingteng said depressedly, "Don't call me Xingteng. Damn it. I really embarrassed myself this time. How am I to face others in the future?" Night fell. The sky was pitch black, one could not even see their fingers when they stretched out their hands. Suddenly, a wooden coffin rose from the Scarlet Sea. Paw! The coffin door landed on the water, and the scarred man from the dark church walked out with a hazy expression. He looked around and muttered, "I finally arrived at the deep sea battlefield." This scarred man had been paying close attention to Xiao Qin. He wanted to make a move the moment Xiao Qin left the city and obtain the major fiend essence core as soon as possible. However, Xiao Qin had been with Bai Lishi the entire time. If the two worked together, the scarred man was not confident of victory. So he could only wait for an opportunity to make a move. This wait lasted until now. The Divine Dragon Palace hated demons very much, so the scarred man had put in a lot of effort to get here. However, at this moment, the scarred man felt more relaxed. "I am really going to die. Unexpectedly, I came to the deep sea battlefield. Now that I am here, even if the two of you work together, I can easily defeat you." The scarred man looked around and verified his position. Then, he returned to the wooden coffin. The coffin lid closed automatically, and the wooden coffin slowly sank into the Scarlet Sea. At this moment, Xiao Qin was bitterly testing out the strength of the remaining demons. He did not know that an unknown strong enemy was targeting him. A middle-ranked ghost race corpse lay quietly on the calm Scarlet Sea. Like humans, the ghost race walked on 4 legs. However, its head was that of a monster. Xiao Qin could not describe what it looked like. It was similar to the evil spirits in the Buddhist underworld of his previous life. However, it was not as malevolent. Xiao Qin was alone. It was no longer as convenient to move around. The demons moved in groups. There were at least 2 of them. Fortunately, Xiao Qin was very familiar with the life bestowal spell now. It was not difficult to use it to lure the other party away. However, it still took much longer than before. The ghost race has the word ghost in their name. However, their strength is not due to their strangeness. Instead, they use their mental energy to create illusions to deal with their enemies. Fortunately, Xiao Qian's spiritual sense was incredibly strong. He did not feel much about illusions of this level. He focused his gaze and shot it out, easily breaking the other party's illusions like a saber. There are still 3 more types of demons to check. After I check them all out, it will be time to go to the inner area. Xiao Qin looked away from the ghost race corpse as he muttered to himself. In terms of individual strength, none of the demonic beasts in the outer area could last more than 10 moves against Xiao Qin. At best, they would only give him some trouble in numbers. Xiao Chen would not be able to achieve the purpose of this experiential training. There was no chance of experiencing the feeling of life and death. However, Xiao Chen was not so arrogant as to charge into the inner area. If he ran into some strange demons, he might not even know how he died. Hence, Xiao Chen needed to seriously understand the various strengths of the demons in the outer area, knowing himself as well as the enemy. At that time, when Xiao Chen entered the inner area and faced the mysterious demons, he would not panic. He would be able to face them calmly and would not die carelessly. There was no wind or rain in the Scarlet Sea. Sunlight could not shine down either. This place was dark all year round. Berserk Dragon Fist. A dragon head appeared on Xiao Chen's fist, and a huge force burst out. Xiao Chen directly hammered a low-ranked ice demon to death, severely injuring it. Xiao Chen spread out his fingers and formed a claw. A resonant dragon image resounded, and a realistic azure-colored dragon claw appeared from nowhere. Xiao Chen stretched out his hand and tore another ice demon into 5 pieces. An invisible red light immediately appeared on the ice demon's corpse and flew into Xiao Chen's forehead. The severely injured ice demon on the surface of the sea crawled to its feet with a horrified expression. Then, it quickly fled. Xiao Chen's expression did not change as he watched the fleeing ice demon. He did not give chase immediately. Xiao Chen clenched his right hand tightly and circulated his vital qi to execute the second move of the dragon claw fist, burning the heavens. He felt like his vital qi was burning. Xiao Chen's entire body felt incredibly hot. An azure-colored energy flowed from his dantian to the Chanzhong acupoint on his chest. Finally, it rushed out of the Baihui acupoint on his head and soared into the sky. The pitch-black clouds above his head suddenly began to churn. Waves of cyan energy began to burn in the clouds. It was as if the entire sky was on fire. Burning the heavens fist. Xiao Chen shouted ferociously and punched. The burning clouds above quickly gathered and formed a dragon fist descending from the sky. Bang! The dragon fist instantly struck the fleeing ice demon, shattering it into countless pieces of ice and falling into the Scarlet Sea. Xiao Chen withdrew his fist and stopped circulating his energy. The clouds above immediately returned to normal, becoming as dark as ink. What a horrifying punch! This punch actually relies on burning vital qi. The more vital qi I burn, the stronger it is. I wonder how strong it will be after I burn all my vital qi. While Xiao Chen was scouting out the strength of the demons, he also started practicing the Dragon Claw Fist. The Dragon Claw Fist had a total of 4 moves and 8 moves: Berserk Dragon, Burning the Heavens, Breaking the Armor, and Seizing the Heart. With Xiao Chen's current cultivation of the Firmament Body Tempering Art's 5th layer, he should be able to finish practicing it. Hence, he planned to finish practicing this fist technique before he entered the inner area. This would be a good foundation for his own experiential training. At that time, he would be even more confident. Ta! 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 Xiao Chen walked over to the ice demon's corpse. There were still 2 demon cores that he had not dug out. He could not waste them. The ice demons were even rarer than the ghost race. Furthermore, they were all low-ranked ice demons. Xiao Chen could not see any middle-ranked ice demons. The ice demons were made of white crystals and could naturally control ice-attributed spiritual energy. In this Scarlet Sea, there was an endless supply of water-attributed spiritual energy for the ice demons to use. Dealing with them was very troublesome. Even Xiao Chen did not dare to be careless. He could only lure over 2 ice demons at a time. If he lured over 1 more, he would have to spend a lot of effort. Xiao Chen placed the demon cores in the universe ring and muttered, "There are still 3 types of demons that I have not met. I will have to spend more time on them." The remaining 3 types of demons were the fire demons, iron demons, and eros demons. They were rather rare. Xiao Chen had only seen some of them from afar. Furthermore, they were very mobile. They were not easy to find. However, no matter how difficult it was, Xiao Chen had to find them. Otherwise, if he went to the inner area alone and met higher-ranked demons, he would be in a passive position. Time passed, and 1 month passed just like that. The last 2 moves of the Dragon Claw Fist were breaking the armor and seizing the heart. Xiao Chen had already completely learned them. All that was left was to slowly perfect them in actual combat. As for the remaining 3 types of demons, Xiao Chen had not found any of them. This made him somewhat depressed. Every day, he could only hunt some other demons. However, his points had increased significantly. There were already more than 100 black dots on the back of the jade pendant. That meant he could exchange for more than 100 points. On this day, the Scarlet Sea was as calm as usual. There were no ripples at all. Xiao Chen flew quickly on the surface of the water. He used his spiritual sense to scan the surroundings continuously, recording every movement in his mind. Ah! Just at this moment, there was a miserable cry. Xiao Chen frowned. That miserable cry sounded very real. It was clearly the cry of a human. On the battlefield, humans hunted demons and demons hunted humans. In this boundless Scarlet Sea, there were cultivators dying every day. In the past month, Xiao Chen had already seen too much. If there was no danger, he would lend a hand. Chapter 507. If they were too far away or there were too many demons, Xiao Chen would not be able to do anything to them. He could not risk his life for the sake of saving others. No matter who stepped onto the battlefield, they had already put their lives on the line. No one could save them. Only their own strength was real. Xiao Chen scanned the area with his spiritual sense and frowned slightly. Then, he stopped moving forward. 3 kilometers to the north, there was a small team of 10 fighting 20-odd middle-ranked winged demons. This team was stronger than Wu Quan's team. Logically speaking, they should not have any problems dealing with 20-odd winged demons. However, there was actually a low-ranked iron demon hidden in that group of winged demons. Its entire body was like metal, reflecting a faint glow in the Scarlet Sea. When the weapons struck the iron demon, they gave off crisp sounds. That iron demon laughed loudly as if nothing had happened to it. The human team was thrown into chaos. Using the iron demon as a shield, the 20-odd winged demons mercilessly reaped the lives of the small team of 10. This is strange. This is the first time I saw 2 different kinds of demons hunting together. If I deal with the iron demon, this group of people might have a chance to turn the tables. Xiao Chen went over to take a look. After thinking for a while, he came up with an idea. He executed the blue dragon cloud soaring art and quickly flew over. In the time it took to brew a pot of tea, Xiao Chen had already flown 3 kilometers away. Someone is coming. When the small team, which was bitterly holding on, saw Xiao Chen, they immediately rejoiced. However, when they got close and saw that Xiao Chen was alone and that he was only a medial-grade martial king, their smiles froze. The team leader had a gloomy expression. He hesitated for a while but did not warn Xiao Chen to leave. The other team members did not say anything either. After all, they were going to die soon. It would not be bad to drag another person down with them. Humans would never understand the hearts of humans. When the winged demons in the air saw Xiao Chen, they laughed sinisterly. Ga. Another reckless thing is coming. Hu Qi. 2 winged demons flapped their green wings and dove toward Xiao Chen while thrusting their sharp claws toward Xiao Chen's forehead. His speed was incomparably fast, like a sharp arrow flying in the air, emitting sharp whistles as he tore through the air. The winged demons were fast, but Xiao Chen was even faster. The blood flame shoes pushed off the water, and Xiao Chen moved in a purple arc, arriving at the winged demon's side. Berserk Dragon Fist. The dragon's head appeared and it roared furiously. A ferocious force exploded forth. The punch directly landed on the winged devil's head, causing a pool of blood to splatter. The winged devil's head exploded. This was a weakness that Xiao Chen had discovered while fighting with the winged demons. The winged demon's entire body was covered in a hard layer of skin. Only the head was lacking. This was also the weakest spot of the winged demons. Berserk Dragon Claw. After exploding the winged demon's head with one punch, Xiao Chen's left hand turned into a claw and condensed into a realistic dragon claw. Then, when the other middle-ranked winged demon turned around, Xiao Chen did not hesitate to crush its head. Xiao Chen easily killed 2 winged demons with one punch and one claw. The leader of the winged demons immediately panicked. It quickly commanded 5 or 6 middle-ranked winged demons to charge at Xiao Chen. Berserk Dragon Break! Xiao Chen shouted, and the dragon's head on his right hand and the dragon's claw on his left quickly merged, forming a complete blue dragon circling around Xiao Chen. When Xiao Chen punched, the blue dragon roared ferociously. It severely injured the 6 middle-ranked winged demons that were flying over, causing them to fall into the Scarlet Sea. How powerful! This person is a genius cultivator. We are saved. The trapped team revealed joyful smiles. Genius cultivators could not be measured by the standards of ordinary people. They were all demonic geniuses that could fight above their cultivation realms, 1 in 10,000. The green face of the winged demon leader tensed up. He quickly ordered the iron demons below to block Xiao Chen and wait for them to finish harvesting before dealing with this team. The iron demon with a metallic glow all over its body laughed strangely. It moved like a train on the surface of the water as it charged at Xiao Chen. A 6-meter-tall scarlet wave appeared behind it. Xiao Chen wanted to test the iron demon's defense. He did not dodge, instead sending out a berserk dragon fist. Bang! The dragon's head struck the iron demon's chest and gave off a dull sound. The azure light scattered, and Xiao Chen felt his arm go numb. However, the low-ranked iron demon laughed loudly as though nothing had happened. Then, it kicked Xiao Chen's chest. The low-ranked iron demon's kick was very fast, almost as fast as Xiao Chen's attack. Xiao Chen could not dodge completely, so he could only lean back to lessen the force of the kick. Bang! When the metal-like foot landed on Xiao Chen's chest, he immediately felt pain. It was like a hammer had smashed into his chest. However, it was only pain. That kick did not contain any vital qi or essence, so the force could not be transmitted into his body. Xiao Chen suddenly understood. This iron demon's body was as hard as the 1,000 mountains frost iron, nearly invulnerable to weapons. It was like a piece of metal, but it did not have much strength. It was very painful to hit someone, but it would not cause any fatal damage. This probably explained why the iron demon would mingle with the other demons. They did not have much offensive power on their own. The iron demon laughed loudly and leaped at Xiao Chen. There was no technique at all, its entire body was full of openings. Bang! 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 Xiao Chen's fists rained down on the iron demon's body like a storm. Dull sounds rang out continuously as he increased his strength. Xiao Chen only managed to leave a shallow dent on the iron demon's body when he increased his strength to 250,000 kilograms. However, no matter what, Xiao Chen's hands were made of flesh and blood. Now, it was incredibly painful. This was especially so for the last 250,000 kilograms punch. Xiao Chen felt like his bones were about to crack. Just thinking about it made him feel stupid. It was like an ordinary person using their fists to punch a piece of metal, crying out in pain. If that was not stupid, what was? Xiao Chen's current situation was similar. The iron demon's metallic face remained unaffected. When it saw that Xiao Chen was tired, it quickly kicked again. Bang! The iron demon kicked Xiao Chen's chest again. Using the force of this kick, Xiao Chen retreated a few steps. He looked at the iron demon, who did not feel any pain. A guess appeared in Xiao Chen's mind. Perhaps the iron demon was born without feeling pain, no matter how strong its defense was. After using such a huge force, the iron demon should have felt something. It was impossible for the iron demon to not even frown. This did not make sense. I should test this out and see if my guess is right. With a thought, Xiao Chen quickly circulated the Dragon Claw Fist's third move, Breaking Armor. Xiao Chen's vital qi spiraled rapidly in his body, flowing through his bones and into his fist. Qi! Qi! Immediately, a cone-shaped, azure-colored, spiraling chi formed on his fist. As the name implied, the breaking armor fist specialized in dealing with those with extremely tough defenses. Bang! A series of violent sounds rang out. The punch was like a blade that was as fast as the wind, cutting a large hole in the chest of the Iron Demon that was pouncing over. However, the Iron Demon's expression did not change. It continued to advance toward Xiao Chen, showing no signs of stopping. Indeed, it really does not feel any pain. Breaking armor, claw. Xiao Chen opened his right hand and formed a claw. Spiraling chi gathered on his fingertips, forming 5 sharp claws. Xiao Chen waved his hand and his 5 fingers sank deep into the Iron Demon's shoulder. Then, he quickly turned his body to the side and pulled with his right hand. The Iron Demon's entire right arm fell off. Then, Xiao Chen casually tossed the Iron Demon's arm into the sea. When he saw the Iron Demon charging at him, he frowned slightly. Still not dead? Breaking armor fist. Xiao Chen had already obtained the information he wanted from the Iron Demon. So, he did not hold back. He directly used his speed to his advantage. Xiao Chen used the breaking armor fist and claw to break the Iron Demon in half. Only then did the Iron Demon die. Xiao Chen could not help but sigh. This Iron Demon's life force was too strong. Its defense was ridiculously strong as well. Furthermore, it did not feel pain. The Iron Demon was a race that was born to be the shield and the vanguard. If a huge battle broke out and rows of Iron Demons charged over without any regard for their lives, the scene would be terrifying. After dealing with the Iron Demon, Xiao Chen looked at the situation of the team in front. They had not taken a turn for the better. They could only barely block the attacks of the winged demons. It looked like the harassment from the Iron Demons earlier was too severe. Burning the heavens. Xiao Chen shouted and the vital chi in his body quickly burned. An azure chi rushed into the sky and the dark clouds churned. Xiao Chen punched and the churning clouds in the sky turned into a dragon fist. When it descended, it killed 2 winged demons and blood splattered everywhere. Xiao Chen did not stop punching. He punched 6 times in a row and instantly killed 10-odd winged demons. The other winged demons fled in all directions. Xiao Chen withdrew his fist and stood upright. The fiery clouds in the sky immediately scattered. When the team members saw Xiao Chen drifting away, they were simply startled. Genius cultivators, we are indeed different. With just a few punches and kicks, we defeated these low-ranked demons. The team leader sighed. Then, he thought of his despicable thoughts and could not help but feel ashamed. Xiao Chen had come to save him. However, he had not thought of warning him. Instead, he had thought of something along the lines of dying together. Now, he had another scapegoat. Let's rest up. We cannot stay here any longer. We have to rush back to the outpost islets. The team leader sighed and called out to the team. Chi! Chi! Right at this moment, a wooden coffin suddenly emerged from the pool of blood. This strange scene caused the team members to jump in fright. Paw! The coffin lid landed on the water and splashed up a scarlet wave. The scarred man, Wu Yang, walked out with a sullen expression. He looked around and frowned. Strange, I clearly sensed his scent. Why did it disappear so quickly? When the scarred man saw the team member beside him, who did not even dare to breathe loudly, he stretched his hand and pulled the team leader over. Then, he lifted up the team leader's collar. The scarred man's gaze turned sullen as he asked in a hoarse voice, "Did you see a white-robed bladesman? Which direction did he go? Answer me honestly. Otherwise, I will make you wish you were dead." When the scarred man felt the other party's strong aura, the team leader nodded vigorously. He said hurriedly, I saw him heading north. He moved very fast. He should be 6 kilometers away by now. Everything I said is true. Don't kill me. You're tuning into the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.